told you it was over! Uncle Lou told you! Lorenzo Carter stepping up for the Dogs one time! Woo! Oh my God! Oh my God, we're gonna do it! 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 We are going to do it! Dog Nation, stand up! We're gonna do it! Let's go! Hold on to the ball. Run, 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 run! And hold on to the ball. Run, 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 run. Hold on to the ball. Ah! 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 Dogs win! Dogs win! Dogs win! Dogs are going to the national title game! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, oh my God! Oh my God! The Dogs are going back! They're going back! Eddie, how about you shut the up? I'm doing LouTube, bitch!
Yeah, good morning, Dad. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it also, and tune addition to that as well. Welcome to Uncle Lou After Dark, college football call-in show. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, year-round. That's right. There is no off-season here. There's just the part of the season where we don't play games. That's it. No off-season. 706-786-4481 is the number if you want to be on the show. 706-786-4481. Not Chewbacca says Uncle Lou sucks. Well, you swallow. So, once again, I'm getting the better end of the deal, which is nothing new for me or you. Do. 706-786-4481, 706-786-4481. Super Chat, located directly below the comment section if you want to support the show tonight or get your comments seen. It's a good way to do it. Don't forget about the PayPal link for those of you that have PayPal and don't mind using it. There you go. There's the PayPal link. Appreciate all y'all tuning in tonight. 141 here. Hit the thumbs up. We're fixing to jump on the phone lines. Phone lines are full already. So we're going to jump on those here in just a second. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Appreciate everybody tuning in. LSU fan, Young Citrus, Pelican Season, Let's Toast Media, Tiger Baskins, Lucas Sharp, Matt Dummett, Tobin Bradshaw, Jeremy Garrettson. Hook'em to God is here. Mark Mann, Brock Tony, Troy Polamalu, Brad Pitt, Jerome Pruitt, Tiger Fanatic, Bears, Cubs, Canes, Nick, C-Nick, Pigskin, Pete, Jordan Bowman, Talk is Pitt, Bama Fanatic, Big Dog, Ben Burr, Alan A., Shaquille Oatmeal, Leroy Jenkins, Brandon Wyatt. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's get to the phone call, see what they're talking about. Yeah, good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
How are you doing this morning?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to ask you about what you thought the Oklahoma State's president and what you thought about his comments were.
Depends what the comments were. I have no clue. I don't pay attention to Oklahoma State.
Well, fair enough. Most people don't. But he said he doesn't understand the reason Oklahoma is joining Texas to leave the Big 12. I think that's the reason they are leaving the Big 12.
What?
It's because they won't get better.
Who, the Big 12?
Yeah.
Right. Big 12 is a sinking ship. So Texas and Oklahoma are the two smartest programs in there for getting out.
We all know this, but I just wanted to kind of highlight that comment because you just, you stay complacency, and it's like it's crazy that they can look themselves in the mirror and figure out, why is this going on?
Right.
Maybe it's not them, it's us. Crazy.
Right. They'll be out of there soon, too. So then someone else can say they
everybody will have
someone
to be.
Else can say they don't understand why Oklahoma State did it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Well, I just wanted to get your thoughts about that comment. Have a great show, Uncle Lou, and have a great morning.
Yeah, thank you for the call. Appreciate that. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, good morning, Uncle Lou. It's Jay Dunn. How are we doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Hey, I just wanted to talk about not necessarily the football, but the cultural fit. Conferences have a cultural identity, and the SEC's identity is Southern, and it's Dixie, and it's largely rural, and none of those things fit with the University of Texas.
Texas is just as racist as any other school in the SEC, sir.
Yes, but Texas is urban cowboy. It's guys in brand new SUVs with cowboy boots and cowboy hats acting like cowboys. And Austin has much more in common with Los Angeles than it does with Athens, Gainesville, Knoxville, Tuscaloosa, Baton Rouge. It's a completely different culture, Austin and the University of Texas, from the rest of the state of Texas.
So it's your understanding that college campuses are conservative. Is that the argument you're making?
No, what I'm making is that they're culturally and socially these conferences are a lot. Georgia and Alabama and Auburn and Tennessee have a hell of a lot more in common with each other than any of those schools do with Wisconsin, Washington, Minnesota. And what I'm saying is Austin doesn't fit in culturally with the SEC. The reason why Iowa State and Kansas would easily fit into the Big Ten is because they're rural, they're schools with research facilities that are heavily invested in agriculture. They're Midwestern. The culture is the same. I'm not judging the cultures. I'm just saying, where do they fit? And Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, they're much more rural, much more SEC type atmospheres than Austin is. That's what I'm saying. Never mind the football. I'm just saying culturally.
Gainesville is rural?
No. Hey, look, are
Baton
you going
Rouge,
to tell me that
Baton Rouge rural? Nashville?
Tuscaloosa's got 110,000 people.
What about Columbia,
It's
South
not rural,
Carolina?
but it's not.
Columbia, South Carolina, is that rural? I understand the point you're making, but I'm going to let you go so you can get back to Breitbart and Fox News. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Uncle Lou. This is Edward calling, and how you doing on this awesome Tuesday night?
Doing great.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask, what did you and Pete think about my trash talk on Dan Mullen and then the Texas Crybabies?
What, on Lunch Money last night?
Correct.
I thought it was great. Whatever I said last night about it, that's what I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, the question I do have for tonight is, I'd like to know this. When was the last time Miami beat a good Florida State team that was ranked Florida State team that was 9-3 or better?
I don't know. When?
Okay. That's honest enough. All right. Well, thank you, Uncle Lou, for answering my question, having me on, and I'll talk to you again next time.
All right, sounds good. I don't know what's going on here. Thinking about starting over. This is getting stranger by the minute here. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou, what's up, buddy?
What's up, bud?
I'm happy about college football being back, but the Texas and OU thing, man, it's just kind of crazy right now. I mean, they think they're going to come in here and just rule the SEC or something. I don't see that shit happening. Do you?
Rule the SEC? No, but they're better than. They're better than 75% of the teams in the SEC. I mean, they're better than.
True, I admit that.
Maybe not 17. Maybe not 75%, but it's pretty high. I mean,
more like 50. Yeah, I'd say 50%.
Yeah. Well, Oklahoma's better than 95%. Texas is better than 50 or 60% right now.
If you hear them talk, they're better than every damn body else.
Well, they might be this year. Oklahoma might be this year. Texas isn't.
They got that name Oklahoma for a reason.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, they sure do. And and just the year coming up, I mean, it's going to be a wild football year. I think the first week of college football, your game, UGA and Clemson, that's going to be a wild game. Alabama's going to tear Miami out of the frame.
Yeah, there's a lot of big non-con games the first couple of weeks of the season. I mean, you got some Big Ten versus Pac-12 games too, like Oregon, Ohio State, Washington, and Michigan. You got some good ones. UCLA and LSU, I think, play.
I'm just sad football's back.
Auburn and Penn
I was
State.
ready for it.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're about a month away.
Auburn and Penn State. That should be an interesting game with a new head coach and a mouth running quarterback. Well, thinks he's going to be their quarterback anyway.
Right.
We'll we'll see. It said Finley could take his job. I don't know for sure, but either way, I think he should seal the deal for Auburn this year. Because nobody wants us. I'm sorry. Alabama's good. I'm just trying to say it.
Yeah, Alabama.
That's my team.
Yeah, no one's going to say Alabama's not good.
That's what it is right now.
Right. I mean, that would be like saying Georgia's not good.
Oh no, Georgia's good, man.
Right.
Georgia's got a good team. Y'all got a good quarterback this year. You got a good offensive line. I think did you fix the secondary problem? Because you were having a problem with your defense. So
brought in some transfers, so our secondary is better now than it was, in February. But until we see them, we'll see. They'll be tested week 1. Ukulele can sling the ball around, so they'll be tested right out of the gate. So we'll find out quick.
He can swing the ball around, yeah, but man, Clemson's defense wasn't up to par last year. So, and they didn't really. They might have a good quarterback and but their defense wasn't all that great last year.
Yeah,
that's the reason Ohio State ran through them like shit through a goose.
Facts.
That's just the way it is. But I'm happy for college football season, and this OU thing in Texas. Hey, let them come. That's fine. That's just more teams for us to beat up. That's all.
I hear that.
Oh yeah. So you have a good night, brother, and take it easy. And like I said, good show, man.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you calling in, and I look forward to talking to you again. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Lou, though.
It's your favorite Ohio State fan, and nobody do the voodoo like Lou do. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Well, I'm, trying to figure this whole thing out. First of all, as a Texas fan, I'll be trying to figure out how I'm going to win 7 games in the SEC right now, right?
Well, lucky for Texas, they don't play in the SEC this year because they would have a rough time this year for sure. They got brand new coaching staff, new quarterback. If they were in the SEC West this year, they'd be, I don't know, 4th or 5th in the SEC West.
And Oklahoma better start to, I think Oklahoma played a little bit better defense last year than they had in the past. But,
yeah,
boy, they better start to play defense once they get to the SEC because you may be scoring some points, but, you're going to be a lot more of those games where you're scoring and losing, like they've had in the past. Obviously, you guys saw that with them in the playoffs where they dropped 40 on you and you still lost because they couldn't stop your running game.
Right.
So,
now that year, 2017, just to be fair, that was probably the worst defense Oklahoma's had in the playoff era. Their defense is a lot better now. Is it good enough to win a playoff game? We're probably going to find out this year. But I do think their defense is miles better than what it's been at any other time during the playoff era.
Lou, I thought statistically it was worse with Kyler Murray in 18 than it was with Baker Mayfield in 17.
It may have been. It may have been. 17 and 18 were both really, really bad, so it could be. I haven't looked at the statistics, but those were 2 really, really bad defenses for sure.
Do you think that, just a quick question on it, you think joining the SEC opens up, getting that kind of defensive talent? And obviously that comes down to coaching, I guess, but, now that they're in the footprint of the SEC, because one of the things I always thought that set the SEC apart, and I know this as an Ohio State fan, is kind of that defensive line talent.
Yeah, I do think that. Sometimes reputation is more important than reality, right? And the Big 12 had a reputation. If you were a quarterback or a wide receiver for a long time, in my opinion, you should have been looking to go to the Big 12. And if you were a defensive lineman or a defensive back, you should have been looking to go to the SEC. And I think some of that ended up happening. Now that Oklahoma's in the SEC, we can't brag about how the SEC has the best recruiting, and then when Oklahoma comes in, act like Oklahoma's not going to benefit from what we've been bragging about for 15 years. So, yes, I do think Texas and Oklahoma's recruiting will benefit. Now, here's the question.
Yeah.
You can have the 10th best recruiting class in America. That's good for first or second.
Yeah.
That's good for first or second in the Big 12. You have the 10th best recruiting class
Right.
in America in the SEC. You could be 7th.
Sure.
In the SEC.
Well, I mean, you've seen this. Oh, sorry. I was just didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, I mean, because you've seen how the last however many national champions, what they've averaged out in recruiting. You know, they've usually at least been in the top 5.
Right.
You know, top 3 or 4, close to it. So
Yeah, but if you look at those classes in the past, they were almost all of the like if you looked at like the 5 highest rated players that Oklahoma signed in any random year, 4 of them were offensive players.
Yeah.
Like they were signing way more highly rated offensive players. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to think of like the last time, you know, Oklahoma really had that like difference maker at linebacker on the defensive line, you know, that you would see in the SEC. And it's been a long, long time.
Right.
You know, so which is why they've been losing those playoff games. Hey, as a Big Ten guy, I want to get this out here as far as what could be the possible play or some options here. And I don't know if you've already talked about this. I talked about this a little bit with Mark Rogers. I mean, the only really good program in our footprint is basically, you know, all their other sports are in the ACC, and I think they're staying independent, and that's Notre Dame, right?
Yeah, but I don't know that they're going to stay independent. But
okay,
I understand why you would. I mean, yeah, I agree basically with what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't think that they would. But you think if they go to a conference, you think it would be to the ACC, though, correct, Lou?
I do because although I don't know the details of their contract with the SEC, I've been told by multiple people that they're in a contract with the ACC and in every other sport basically through like 2035 or something. So
Right.
think about how much Texas and Oklahoma are about to pay. Texas and Oklahoma are about to pay $80 million each to get out of a contract with the Big 12 that only lasts for 3 more years. Think about what it would cost Notre Dame to get out of a contract with the ACC that lasts 15 more years. So, and
Right.
I feel like if we go to a 4-team super conference, that something is going to be put in place rule-wise concerning the playoffs that will force Notre Dame's hand.
I could see that, and I mean, my thinking is if they go anywhere, I think it would. You know, I do think, you know, it would be to the ACC.
I do too.
By the way, have you heard the talk about the Big Ten and the Pac-12 possibly trying to get together?
Like for a merger?
Yeah, for a merger. There's been some talk out there, some chatter I've heard online,
Yeah.
and some of the message boards that I've been looking at. And, you know, obviously they had the connection for years with the Rose Bowl.
Right.
Not to saying that the Pac-12 is the be-all, end-all, but I think there are still a couple good programs out there that would definitely be upgrades.
I think
I don't know
there's
what your
3
thoughts are
programs
on
out
that.
there. Southern Cal, Oregon, and Washington are already top 25 programs right now. And I believe the talent exists for one of the Arizona schools to become a like consistent top 25 program. I believe that.
Oh,
Now it hasn't happened.
Oh, I agree with
We've seen them each have a few good years here and there. So I think those are 4 like teams that I can see in the near future being worthy of carrying a conference. And then you've got some other ones in the Pac-12 that have good years from time to time. Utah even. We've seen Stanford win 10, 11 plus games a year. So I think there's a few others out there. Now a merger between those 2 conferences in my mind clearly benefits the Pac-12 way more than it benefits. I don't think the Big Ten needs that.
well, I mean, we need some upgrades, Lou. I mean, I just to be honest with you, I mean, you guys are playing hardball. We've got to do whatever we've got to do to get more better football teams here. And I'm not talking Rutgers and Maryland and a Nebraska that isn't the Nebraska of yesteryear. I'm talking at least programs that, like you just said, can be top 20 to top 15 programs. Now, even in USC State, I still think they can be a top 15 to top 20 program. And I actually think Oregon can be close to a top 10 program.
Me too.
So I think adding that, or if they could get something arranged, I actually do think would help the Big Ten. Now, how they would arrange travel and how they would set that up, that I don't know. But
my thing with now, obviously, the SEC has taken a giant step forward here, going to 16 teams, and the 2 teams they added are. I mean, we can make all the jokes we want about Texas and Oklahoma. These are 2 household names. I mean,
Right,
that's just the reality. Let's assume Notre Dame goes to the ACC. I do think the Big Ten needs to do something because you have to try to keep up.
Sure.
No one can catch the SEC right now. There's no teams available. So what the Big Ten has to do is make sure the ACC doesn't jump. Because right now it's a pretty good debate. I think the Big Ten is the second best conference. We'll see how Miami and North Carolina fare this year. I know some people lean ACC, and that's not the point of what I'm saying. The Big Ten has to make sure they don't fall too far behind the ACC. If they add Notre Dame, the Big Ten's got to add some legitimate teams. I don't know who those teams would be. But like the Big Ten, I mean, let's be honest. Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Those are 4 teams. Those are 4 teams that, with a good recruiting class or 2 right now, could be a top 5, top 10 team. That's just facts. Nebraska, tradition, history. They're way down right now, no doubt about it. But so is Florida State. Anybody think Florida State's going to be a 4-win team in 10 years? No one thinks that. So like the Big Ten has a lot of legitimate top football programs right now. They need to add 2 more to get to 16 teams. I don't really want the Big Ten and the Pac-12 to merge because I want to go to a 4-conference deal. And if the Big Ten and the Pac-12 merge, in my opinion, if that happens, then you're probably looking at an SEC-ACC merger at that point. And you're going to it's going to be the NFL, AFC, NFC. You're going to have the Big Ten, Pac-12, whatever they call themselves, and you're going to have the SEC and the ACC and whatever they call themselves. And the SEC and the ACC are going to have their own playoffs. The Pac-12 and the Big Ten are going to have their own playoffs, and the 2 winners of those playoffs are going to play. Does that sound familiar? It should. It's called the NFL playoffs in the Super Bowl, the AFC versus the NFC.
Right. Well, I would just say, Lou, I mean, we've basically become football without borders right now.
Right.
So, I mean, we're far less regionalized than we've ever been, and we're going that direction. So, I mean, Katie bar the door, every option's got to be out there right now. That's all I'm saying. And if you're the Big Ten, you got to try and fight some fire with some fire.
I agree.
As best you can.
And I wouldn't blame the Big Ten for doing there's nothing the Big Ten could do right now that I would blame them for, because people are looking around at the SEC going, well, clearly they've got no interest in preserving whatever it is we pretend to love about college football. They're just looking to become the biggest monster in the room and eat everybody else up. I mean, you probably heard the rumors this week that the SEC was trying to get Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, and Florida State. Yep. I mean, so what is the Big Ten supposed to do? So I wouldn't blame the Big Ten at all if they went out and contacted Southern Cal, Oregon, Washington, and Arizona State and said, hey, you want to join the Big Ten? I wouldn't blame them for doing it at all. I just don't want it to happen because I want 4 separated conferences, as close to what we used to have as usual, just maybe 4 instead of 5. And it makes sense to me to go to 4 because all these playoff models you see now with the 12 teams are giving 4 teams a bye. Well, if you have 4 major conferences, that settles your 4 byes right there. I mean, it just seems to line up with that. And I would rather see that than 2 major conferences that's just going to resemble the NFL, AFC, NFC. I don't, there's a reason I like college football better than the NFL.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, your guy, I'm far more confident in your guy running your ship at your conference, and Mr. Sankey, than my guy running my conference.
I don't blame you.
Warren.
Yeah.
So that's what gives me pause. So
yeah,
you take care of yourself, Lou.
Yeah, it was good to hear from you, man. Thanks for calling in. Look forward to talking to you during the season. Guy's been calling for a long time. Always makes interesting points too. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Uncle Lou. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Also in 2.
Also in 2, and I just want to call and let everyone know. I know there's a lot of you're a SEC homer, and there's a lot of SEC homers that follow this page, and so I just wanted to say that, I grew up going to UT games during the Mac Brown era. My grandfather went to Texas, and I got to see all the pageantry and the energetic environment that Texas creates, and I think it's just going to add to what the SEC has going on, especially with Oklahoma we're talking, what do we love about college football? Pageantry, tradition, people getting pissed off at other fan bases, shit like that.
I agree.
Talking to somebody on the weekend.
Yeah, if you were going to pick any two teams out of the Big 12 to add to the SEC from a fan perspective, you go out and get Texas and Oklahoma. Those are the two biggest fan bases. And I agree with what you're saying. And and I know the SEC gets mocked sometimes for like the slogan, it just means more. But the reality is, it does mean more. You can't tell the difference sometimes between an Ole Miss home game when they're sitting at 4-4 and an Alabama home game when they're sitting at 8-0. It's every single week in the SEC, it's just ridiculous with the crowds and the fans and the way they act and the passion that everybody has. You just don't have that in any other conference. You just don't, and it's primarily because college football has become a southeastern sport. You go up in the Northeast, they like football. Midwest is probably the closest. Midwest is probably the closest, but hell, you got lacrosse and wrestling people up there, and out west you got soccer and softball. It does mean more in the Southeast to the fans. There's not a region of the country that has more passionate college football fans than the Southeast. So when you start looking around at what makes sense to add to that from a fan perspective, OU and Texas makes perfect sense because their fans are close to the same as us in terms of lunatic level.
Yeah, it's all about the lunacy and again these environments that get created with the marching bands and Oklahoma and Texas have like live animals and shit on the side of the fucking sideline. So it's it's interesting. And I think Oklahoma Stadium is 80-something thousand. I know UT just expanded. They're like 100K. There's gonna be crazy environments added to what the SEC is. Besides the Big Ten, the SEC has all the big stadiums.
Right.
It's just loud in there.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I'm not trying to pretend that every SEC stadium and fan base is that way. Vandy, Missouri, those are probably the two exceptions. Playing at Vandy and playing at Missouri is never that much of an issue for whatever reason, but the rest of them, listen, I'm telling you, LSU can be 10-0 or 0-10. It's hard to play there at night. It doesn't matter what their record is. Those fans are absolutely insane. They're just insane. Go play in the swamp. Play in Athens on a Saturday night. Columbia, South Carolina is not an easy place to play, and they're never any good. And it's because of the fans. These fans, it's just insane. And the Texas-Oklahoma game in the Big 12 is as big as any other game year-round anywhere. I admit that. There's no debate or argument there. The thing is, in the SEC, you have 6 of those games a year.
Exactly.
Not one. So there's going to be some adjustment for Texas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and at the same time, they want that. I look forward to the Red River every year. And it's the only real big game like that because it's like in the Cotton Bowl, which is a big stadium. But it's every week,
Right.
Really looking forward to going into Kyle Field. I grew up going to the A&M Texas game and shit like that. It was intense.
Yeah.
Really, people getting beat up in a parking lot. Who knows?
Yeah, and listen, we're going to get some of these games back. We're going to see Texas and Arkansas a lot more often. We're going to see Texas and Texas A&M a lot more often. We get to keep the Texas-Oklahoma rivalry. We get to keep Florida and Georgia. We get to keep Auburn and Alabama. We get to keep Alabama and Tennessee, hopefully. This is just adding to the number of must-watch games in the SEC every single year. This isn't like adding Mizzou and Texas A&M. And again, I'm not taking anything away from those two teams. I understand why we added those two teams at the time. It was TV market issues. That's all. We wanted into the St. Louis TV market, and we wanted into the Texas TV market. So we went and we got Missouri and Texas A&M. I think that was a financially wise decision. This decision, even though it clearly makes sense financially, but this is just purely a football decision. This just makes sense football-wise. These fan bases, I think, fit in with the SEC.
Yeah, I think they do too, and I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, my grandpa went to Texas, and I can't wait now that COVID's over. Maybe him go to some games like we used to. It's going to be a fun time. Before I leave you, Lou, I'm hyping up the horns or whatever, but I graduated from Texas State, and the Sun Belt represent the Sun Belt. I know a lot of people in here are from the South.
Oh, you've called in
so
before.
Maybe your daughters or whatever.
You've called him.
I have called him
you've called him
before,
before. Yeah, I remember you. I remember the Texas State thing reminded me. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to give an upset alert to everybody in the comments section. Week 1, Baylor Bears coming to Texas State. They're going to be pissed about the Big 12 dissolving and not see it coming. We're going to knock off Baylor, and what a way to dissolve the 12 by taking down the Bears in San Marcos. And so I'll leave you with that, Lou.
I hope you do it, sir. That would be great. Yeah, we love those big upsets. That would be amazing. Good luck to your Texas State, sir. I appreciate you taking the time to call in. We got a couple people that have hit the PayPal link. Let me acknowledge that real quick. Sean D, thank you for hitting the PayPal link. He says, this is a great shoe. Over under on Longhorn man yelling SEC. They will all be yelling it in a couple of years. They all will. They're saying they won't now, but they will. Everybody says the same thing. I don't understand conference pride. Well, that's because your conference offers nothing to be proud of. There's no reason to have conference pride in the Big 12. Not the case in the SEC. And the majority of the Texas and the Oklahoma fans will come around, and yes, they will be chanting SEC in their bowl games or whatever else when they win a big game. Yes, it will happen. It will happen. It's not a question of if, it's just a matter of when. It will happen. Brandon W., thank you for hitting the PayPal link tonight, sir. I really appreciate you supporting the show. He says, you've made the offseason great, Lou. Are you going to any UGA home games this year? I would love to say hi if you're going to be in town. I try to go to one game a year. I didn't go to one last year for obvious reasons. I considered going to the Clemson game this year, but the ticket prices are just ridiculous. It's not going to a game is not worth that amount of money to me. So that opens up some possibilities for some home games for later in the year. I haven't made a decision on which game or games that would possibly be, but I always let everyone know way ahead of time on all the live shows whenever I'm planning to go to a game. So as soon as I make some kind of decision on that, I'll be sure and let everybody know. But thank you for hitting that PayPal link and supporting the show. Super chat time. Pigskin Pete with a super chat. Pete's good people. I heard Pete has an amazing show every Monday night at 10 o'clock. It says statistics are like a dick. You can bend them to fuck anything. That is true. You can find a statistic to back up almost any opinion you have. That is true. That is true. J Rizzle Drizzle, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, what's up, Lou? Great to be back. I've been so damn busy with work. I haven't been around too much. I still watch your videos, just haven't been able to make the live shows. New baby, 5 months old. I think Texas will show up under Sark. Congratulations on a new baby, sir. I'm hoping and assuming that mother and child are 100% healthy. No one cares about your health anymore, Jay Rizzle. You'll figure that out real quick if you haven't already. Once you have a child, your health or well-being or pretty much anything about you no longer matters. It's all about your child and your child's mother. And like I said, I'm sure you figured that out already. And he says he thinks Texas will show up under Sarkisian. I think it's possible. We'll see. I think a lot with Texas, how far Texas can go this year, right? Depends a lot on the quarterback situation. Anytime you start a new quarterback, that comes along with some question marks, and you throw a new coaching staff into the mix, plus Oklahoma and Iowa State getting back absolutely loaded teams, and it would appear that Texas looks like about a third or fourth best team in the Big 12 this year. It's not set in stone. It's just kind of what it looks like heading into the season, in my opinion. We shall see. Moving right along. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Lou, though.
This is Mr. Baskins. Lou, how are you, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great, Mr. Baskins. But how are you doing, though?
I'm doing good. You guys hit the nail on the head earlier. That's what I was going to talk about. Just the whole, as much as we've kind of clowned Texas and the OU, this makes the SEC that much more exciting. Like you said, it doesn't matter if it's the 4-4 Ole Miss team or a 9-3. You're seeing this, you're seeing this conference kind of rise through the roof of every single week. It's a game to look forward to. And in these other conferences, you might get 2-3 weeks out of the year where you're looking forward to a game. And I think I'm a little excited about that. As much as I am going to be doing horns down every single week for the first 2 years that they're in the conference.
Yeah, the SEC SEC office is not going to be in the business of protecting the Texas man's feelings like the Big 12 office has been doing for years. That I can tell you. And the more of a fuss Texas makes about the horns down, the more it's going to happen. That's just a reality. As far as adding Texas and Oklahoma, I'm an SEC guy too, so I love the fact that we're going to have more good games too. But I don't want the SEC to expand to the point where it ruins the rest of college football. I mean, I am, after all, a college football fan first. Georgia, I say it all the time. Georgia's my favorite team, but I'm a college football fan. I'm not just an SEC fan. I enjoy all of college football, and I don't want to see the SEC grow to the point where I mean, do we really want the SEC to be so big and so good that it's not even worth bragging when we beat other conference? Like, isn't it fun right now to brag about being better than the Big 10, better than the Big 12, better than the ACC? I mean, you go to a 20-team league, who's left? I mean, you're bragging about beating teams like Purdue and Northwestern. I mean, no one cares.
Yeah, no, and you're right, though. I think that's where we got to see something, and I'm going to say this, and a lot of people have thought about it, but that's why people were bending over backwards for Texas and this whole horns down thing. Because everybody flipped their shit. Man, why are they protecting Texas and the horns down? They're trying to keep them. They knew that they were trying to leave. They didn't all of a sudden just snap of a finger say, hey, you know what? We think we'll leave. They have been going through that. They've thought about it. And so what did they do? They tried to persuade them. And it didn't work at all. Yeah. And as far as Oklahoma, I think they capitalized on a great season last year, a great statistical season, having a good defense and saying, if we say we're going to the SEC, this defense will get better. It'll be more consistent. I won't say better, but it'll be more consistent. We'll be able to actually recruit defensive linemen because we're playing in the SEC compared to 1 out of every 5 years we have a decent defense.
Right. And let's be clear. Let's be clear about one other thing. This isn't the SEC's fault that Texas and Oklahoma are joining that's not the SEC's fault. This is the Big 12's fault. The Big 12 has had almost 10 years to get their head out of the sand. And not only have they not done it, they haven't even tried. The Big 12 was never going to last on a permanent basis. The way college football is heading, it was never going to last on a permanent basis with a 10-team league. Never. Think about how good right now Cincinnati and Central Florida are, and name a couple other teams if you want, Boise State. Then think about how much better they'd be if they'd been in the Power 5 for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. I mean, there are recruits that won't even look at a Group of 5 school. Don't even look at them. This is the Big 12's fault. So anybody that's mad about this or, oh, my God, the SEC is ruining college football, this is the Big 12's fault. The Big 12 did nothing. Every decision they have made for the last 10 years has been the wrong one. This is the Big 12's fault.
Agreed. And they could have expanded. And it's not just expanding as far as getting more teams. You have left Texas and Oklahoma out to dry. Right. You could have brought in better teams. You could have went after Notre Dame. ACC is probably going to end up with Notre Dame because, Notre Dame has been on this whole high horse this whole time, but they're seeing everybody is approaching that role of joining, not just a conference, but the best conference for them. And Notre Dame has missed out on not saying a weak ACC conference, but if Notre Dame was in the ACC the last 10 years, we'd be talking about Clemson and Notre Dame, not Clemson and maybe North Carolina, or not Clemson and maybe Miami. You missed out on it because now you're going to miss around and have another team leave to go to the ACC. But aside from that, I say, we'll welcome Texas and OU better than we welcome Texas A&M and Missouri because it definitely brings more competition to the conference. But I agree with you. Texas isn't going to be terrible for long. I know they've had their ups and downs, but them coming to the SEC, plus them having money. I forget how much money that freaking university has.
And people keep telling me, well, Texas only has this many national titles or that many. I know around here, it's either you win a national title or you're not worth a shit. Because this is a trash talking channel. But in reality, which is where 99% of people live, a 9-10 win team is pretty good. And the fact is,
Yes.
if you think Texas is going to win 10 games more often than about 60 or 70% of the teams in the SEC right now. Texas is not going to consistently lose to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas. Hell, I don't think if Texas and Auburn played every year for the next 10 years, would you take Texas or Auburn to win more of those games over the next 10 years? I'd take Texas.
Oh, easy.
Right.
Especially with how Auburn is now. Like, you lost out on the one coach that can beat Nick Saban. Not saying that this guy's not going to be good, but...
And I haven't even mentioned any
SEC
SEC's teams. So now, okay, you telling me like Texas or South Carolina, Texas or Vandy, Texas or Kentucky, Texas or Mizzou. Texas is better than a lot of the teams in the SEC. I mean, they only have 2 national titles. Great. How many teams in the SEC have more than that? 4?
Agreed. And I have a good question for you.
I mean, Georgia's got 2, Florida's got 3, Bama's got 122, most of which are made up. Auburn's got a couple. LSU's got what? How many is LSU's got? Whatever they have, 3, 4, 5. I don't even know.
3 or 4. Yep.
And Tennessee's got some. So, but I mean, Vandy, South Carolina, Mizzou, Kentucky, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Texas A&M. How many national titles combined right there? 0. I mean, let's quit acting like everybody in the SEC has 100 national titles. Texas and Oklahoma are going to fit in just fine.
And that's where people will say, that you're not just a SEC homer, you're a realist.
I'm a college football fan. When I predict Oklahoma to lose a game during the regular season, it's because I think they're going to lose, not because I hate Oklahoma. Why would I hate Oklahoma? We're undefeated against them. If I pick Texas to go 8-4 this year, it's because I think Texas is going 8-4 this year. Not because I mean, is there anybody here that thinks I don't hate Alabama? I hate Alabama, don't I? When's the last time I predicted Alabama to lose a game? I predict them to go 12-0 every regular season like clockwork. I love Alabama, but I hate Oklahoma. Why? So I mean, the whole thing is just ridiculous. You just hate somebody unless you pick them to go undefeated. So,
quick side note, my fellow dog fan, I was going to match Rhino's $20 super chat, but this guy sent in $100, and I got money, but not like that. So I'm just going to send you my $20 on the low, and you just tell Rhino that it was 100. Okay,
Tiger, you're good people, buddy. I love you. All right, buddy. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir. See you, buddy.
Tiger Baskins. Most people still think he's a Clemson fan. You picked that name, sir. So you have to take some responsibility for that. Mo Football, thank you for the super chat. He says, with a schedule like this, non-con games against other Power 5 schools may go away. We talked about that some, I think, on the morning show today, because it came up that we should go to a 10-game conference schedule. If you go to a 10-game conference schedule, you can forget it. The SEC will play 0 non-con games that mean anything if they do that, because you got too many SEC teams that already, like take Georgia, for example. We play Georgia Tech every year. That's a Power 5 non-con game. Florida plays Florida State. So if you go to a 10 SEC game schedule, a lot of teams, that's going to put a lot of teams playing 11 Power 5 games. You can forget about most of the non-cons after that, in my opinion. So it's possible. I think if they keep it at 8 or 9, you'll continue to see some non-con games. Because the other thing to keep in mind is, if the playoffs are going to go to 12 teams, you can lose a couple of games and still get in. So, the risk of scheduling a big non-con game is not as great as it is now when the playoffs only involve 4 teams and you pretty much have to go undefeated or 1 loss. And Rhino with a big super chat. Thank you, Rhino. Good to see you in here tonight, sir. He's an OU fan. Boy, you picked a good time to start commenting. I know you've been around for a while, Rhino, watching the videos. I've heard you talk about it, but you really just started commenting over the last few months and stuff. You picked a great time, didn't you? Like literally, you became active in the comment section, pretty much all over the college football community. And like 6 weeks later, this news comes out and Oklahoma joins the SEC. You couldn't have got in at a more exciting time. He says, "Everybody hit the thumbs up, y'all. Still working on my SEC chant. I'm confident you'll get it figured out by the time Oklahoma is playing an SEC schedule, Rhino. I've got nothing but faith and confidence in you, sir. Nothing but faith and confidence in you, sir." All right. We'll do a few more phone calls here, and I'm going to try to wrap it up right around 11 o'clock, though. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hello, Uncle Lou. It's Mark Johnson. It's been a while. How
It
you
has
doing?
been a while, sir. I'm good. How you been?
It's been great. You know, I got some good and bad news. I'm an Oklahoma fan. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but have I ever told you that?
Of course you have.
Uncle Lou?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm an Oklahoma fan, but since we're joining the SEC, I'm retiring from trolling. I had so much coming for this college football season. I was so excited. Maybe I can do it for one more, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it because now it's not worth it. It's all just going to be bitter now. You know what I'm saying? So
I think so, huh?
I'm retiring from trolling.
Well,
all of my calls are going to be serious from now on. But yeah, let me put it this way: I'm excited to join the SEC. Man, I hated being in the Big 12. Man, I felt so irrelevant in that conference. You know what I'm saying?
Well, in all honesty, to all the diehard Texas and Oklahoma fans out there, if y'all will, I mean, I'm sure you already have thick skin, but if you'll thicken your skin up, you can have you can have a great time in the college football community year round, trash talking with SEC fans, because we are absolutely insane down here with college football.
Yeah.
And so to the hardcore Texas and Oklahoma fans, it can't be fun to trash talk Kansas State and Iowa State and TCU in June. That just can't be fun to do.
It's not.
But I can tell you right now,
absolutely.
I can tell you right now, it's fun to trash talk Alabama and Florida and LSU in February, March, April, May, June, July. It's never not fun.
Y'all got a lot of high-end programs in the SEC. You know, all Oklahoma has the trash talk is Texas. I mean, sure, we can trash talk Oklahoma State, but I mean, we have like 90 wins against them.
Well,
you know
and even the programs that aren't high end. I mean, you can rile up South Carolina fans in May.
Yeah.
I mean, these fans are just insane.
I've seen it, man. I've been watching your videos for a long time. I know they're fun to watch. I wasn't in the SEC. I wasn't an SEC homer, but I mean, they're really good to watch. They're funny, man. You got me laughing all the time, man. Even though I haven't been calling you very much lately, like I still watch all your videos. Like they're pretty hilarious, man.
And from a selfish perspective, this is great news for Uncle Lou. I mean, if I'm just going to be selfish, this is great news from Uncle Lou. This will bring a lot more Texas and Oklahoma eyeballs to SEC football, which in turn will help me. So this is great news for me. I've got 2 new fan bases I can piss off on a regular basis.
Hey, man, you might be getting under my skin a little bit before long.
We'll see.
Oh, man. All the people we had to mess with was Texas. I mean, and even in Texas, they're super rich, but like they haven't been that great the last few years. Right. But I think going to the SEC, man, like I don't know. I think we're going to get a lot better recruiting, better defense, man.
I agree.
And I love Alex Grinch. I love what he's done, man. And you know, we're already good recruiting. The last couple of years, we've gotten a lot better at recruiting on the defensive side because they've seen improvement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know, man. Maybe we can keep them, but we haven't. All I know is this year, man, I'm excited about our defense this year. I think we have a really nasty defensive line, but our secondary, I don't know. But I don't know. I'm excited to see, man. I think we have a shot at winning a playoff game this year, but I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. You know what I'm saying?
We will find out.
Let me tell you this much, though. Y'all ain't ready for OU Twitter, though. Or if you're on Twitter or on YouTube, man, y'all ain't ready. We're pretty nasty too. Trust me, we get nasty too. Trust me.
I'll have to look into it. Mark Johnson, thank you for the call, sir. It's good to hear from you again.
Yeah, you have a good one.
All right, you too, buddy.
Day, sir.
This man said the SEC is not ready for OU Twitter. We'll see. You know who else is pretty delusional? Vol Twitter. If you're ever bored and want to entertain yourself, go to Twitter and do a search for hashtag Vol Twitter. Just trust me. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Lou. This is D from Atlanta. It's been a while. How you been,
man? All my old favorite callers are calling in today. Dave Greenfield guy from Ohio State, Mark Johnson. Now you. How you been, sir?
I've been great, man. This schedule changed, so I hadn't been able to call in. I've been actually meaning to call you since the Slob Olympics. I can't remember how many push-ups you said you did at this point, but I did go online and I pulled up the Army PT standards, which y'all did 1 minute of push-ups. You get to do 2 minutes of push-ups. You almost did enough to pass that PT test
well,
based upon your age.
That's sad.
So there you go. So you're not as bad off as you thought you were.
Okay, good.
So, of course, the hot news in football right now is the whole OU Texas thing, and ironically, about 1990, I used to buy the Sporting News Preview magazine, and they had a column in there about the 4 super conferences all the way back in 1990. So I'm like, damn.
Yeah, this idea of the 4-team super
conference
has been around for a while, since the last round of expansion.
Yeah.
Really. It's not a new idea.
About time.
Yeah, the SEC is just the first team to go to 16, which is how most of those 4-team super conferences were modeled. It was basically 4 conferences of 16 teams. Yeah. Right.
Exactly. Of course, the teams were different, and they tried, in that article, they tried to keep it in the same footprint, et cetera, which we know footprint means absolutely nothing. But I thought it was interesting, and of course, the following year, that's when South Carolina and Arkansas joined the SEC, and I think maybe that was the reason for writing the article. But we're on the cusp of this.
Yeah.
And with that said, I don't even know if this is going to be good for football long term. I don't. However, we know it's a money grab, and we know people are trying to strengthen their positions. And if I'm the Big Ten, they pay out the most money right now. And the way that you combat this Texas OU thing is, dude, you got to go after the 2 sleeping giants in Florida. You got to go after Clemson, and you got to go after Notre Dame. They'll listen.
Yeah.
And I know that's 18 and not 16, but again, all bets are off.
Yeah, agreed.
All bets are off. And you're talking about bringing in 4, you said earlier, I think the 4 football commodities that they bring in would match the Texas-Oklahoma football commodities.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
So, and that's like completely off the wall. I was looking at it earlier today, and I got to thinking, I was like, man, because the ACC is not so set up unless Notre Dame decides to come. The ACC better get on their business if they want to stay in existence, because, again, the Big 12 can't afford to lose their 2 big schools, and the ACC can't afford to lose Clemson and the 2 sleeping giants in Florida.
Right.
And we know Florida State is going to wake up, and Miami's going to wake up. Miami's been asleep way more than anybody. This is longer than anybody thought Miami would be not Miami.
Right.
And that's, it's been about 20 years. And nobody thought that. And they've had blips, but they've never gotten back to being Miami. And that's what I would do if I was the Big Ten. Now, nobody else holds any value in the Big 12. They're stuck. Everybody, I'm hearing people say, well, the ACC should just grab West Virginia. They rejected West Virginia last time. They don't want them. What does West Virginia bring to the ACC? It's about 1.7 million people in the state. There's more people in Metro Charleston and Metro Columbia than there are.
Well, there's probably more people in Cincinnati. And I said this yesterday. I would go get Cincinnati before I got West Virginia. That's just me.
You know what? If all things stay the same and everybody's just going to 16, you pressure Notre Dame into becoming 15 because they're basically there, and you have them under contract until 35, 36, whenever, and then you get Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You know, the old way of thinking is this, and again, this is all changing in front of us. But it takes 4 teams to vote no to keep you out. UCF is not getting in the ACC. The 2 Florida schools are going to say no. We recruit too heavily in Florida. We're going to say no. And Louisville's going to say no because they, again, rely on Florida. Everybody in this region of the country recruits Florida heavily.
Right.
So UCF is a big no. So if everything stays the same, Notre Dame, Cincinnati to the ACC, the Big Ten, UCF.
Yeah, I agree. Geography doesn't matter. I mean, again, we're not taking a Greyhound bus to these games. We're flying. Get Central Florida.
No.
You get the best teams out there. It doesn't matter where they're located. I completely. Well, it only matters. It only matters where they're located when you're comparing teams in terms of maybe recruiting or TV market. Like, that's why I don't like West Virginia.
Right.
There is no TV market in West Virginia. There is no recruiting in West Virginia. Ohio's a great recruiting state, and Cincinnati's a good TV market. So it just makes more sense that way. But in terms of, the Big 12 going, we can't get UCF. They're not in our footprint. That was stupid. The Big 12 should have got Central Florida 10 years ago.
They should have gotten Central Florida. That's where they messed up. But again, West Virginia, and I was watching, it was a West Virginia channel where I saw it, and I was like, nah, dude, I understand you're a fan, but these decisions are not about fans, not about fan bases. These decisions are all money driven. And that's why basketball doesn't matter.
Right.
Basketball makes money, but it's not football money.
Right.
You know, and so at the end of the day, what we're looking at, again, Charleston and Columbia are not even big metro areas. They're smaller metro areas, and there's more people there than in West Virginia. West Virginia brings nothing. The only reason they got to the Big 10 or Big 12, in my opinion, is they had to scramble for a 10th team to get a championship game.
Yeah.
You know, but that's it, Lou. Great talking to you, buddy. I know you're trying to wrap this thing up, and I'll hopefully my schedule will keep making it able for me to call. And if Pete's still out there, I'm going to try to holler at Pete tomorrow. Have a good morning.
All right, yeah, and Pete still is there. He's every Wednesday and Friday. So yeah, he'd love to hear from you too. And hopefully you get that worked out like you said, because I'd love to talk to you once a week or once every couple of weeks during the season, especially. Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, how are you doing, man?
Doing good.
First of all, I'm kind of newer to the channel or whatnot. I'm a Sooner fan up here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I saw you making some pretty funny videos. You are pretty funny most of the time. When you're not making fun of Oklahoma or something, you're funny most of the time that time.
Don't worry. But, everybody feels the same way you do. They love it when we make jokes about someone else, but then when it's their team, they're like, "Hey, wait a minute."
Yeah, that sucks. I got to tell you. However, my wife's a Gator fan. I lived in Florida, Gainesville, Florida, for 15 years.
Oh, okay.
I'm from Oklahoma originally, and I got to tell you, you're absolutely right on the Gator fans. They're absolutely fucking worthless. They're like the worst of like both sides. Like you get your arrogant Oklahoma fans, they're just as arrogant without any right to be so.
Yeah.
And then you get it's just amazing to me that town. It's just I don't know if my wife can hear me or not. I'm sure there's Tim Tebow posters somewhere plastered behind the walls or something, so we'll have to look at that later. But anyway, I got to tell you, it's really exciting I haven't been this excited about a season coming up. Like, I think I saw one of your videos where you said potentially 2022 is when I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. It ain't going to go to 25.
No, I don't think so.
But I think it's going to happen next year. And I got to say, I'm so pumped up for the season. Back in the early 2000s, it was fun because they had the Big 12 North and South, and you had Nebraska when they were good.
Right.
Of course, Texas A&M, Colorado, Missouri, and they split up the conference. But then when Texas kind of screwed over the Big 12, frankly, that's what everyone says, and that conference broke up. It never was the same. And, I look forward to the Tennessees coming down, or the Miamis, or the Notre Dames, the Ohio States, but the rest of the schedule sucked.
Right.
And now, I've been to the Swamp before. It's just it's a different feel. I'm not saying it's bigger or better. It's just far different. And I want to get your take on this. So I have a bunch of Florida fans. Like anytime like Oklahoma's losing by 3, they'll talk shit. So I was going over. I think Oklahoma, and I know you're giving your honest opinion on it, but I think Oklahoma will win less games in this conference. There's just too many. There's just better programs like overall from top to bottom. But I do think they'll win more national titles. And this has been the longest drought for OU. If you count the 50s, right? Because we won 3 in the 50s, 3 in 2 in the 70s, 1 in the 80s, 1 in 2000. So we got 7. This is the longest drought we've ever had, and I think it is due to recruiting. I mean, we're on the precipice of it. I think that, the Baker Mayfield year, actually we played you guys, and that's overtime. We just didn't. You guys could have ran for 2,000 yards. Their defensive line was so pathetic.
Yeah.
But I think that we'll win more national titles. And here's some stats I got for you. So in A&M, when they went to the SEC, right, every single year but one, they were over 600. Every year in the SEC. In the Big 12, they had several seasons where they were 4-8, so an average of 0.3. And only 2 years they were over 600.
Wow.
From the span of 2002 to 2011.
Yeah.
And if you take Oklahoma's recruiting, that they've been able to keep up more or less, not all the way to Bama standards, but they're on a whole new level. I think there's some stuff going on there. I don't want to get into that on this topic, but if you take Oklahoma's recruiting and you put it in the SEC and you put those numbers up against A&M's, I think Oklahoma's going to be really freaking good, man. I really do. And I think they're going to win a lot of national titles here. Now, obviously, I'm biased as hell, but
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? What's how do you see those stats?
Yeah.
How do you justify those?
First of all, I think that when we go to a 12-team playoff, I think it's going to be harder for anyone to win a national title.
That's a fact.
Just because of that. Now, that's separate from the point you're making about Oklahoma moving to the SEC. However, also with a 12-team playoff, it's going to give clearly more teams more opportunities. Take Oklahoma last year, for example. Oklahoma gets in a 12-team playoff last year. And in my opinion, they were one of the best 4 teams in America at the end of the year. Would they have won it all last year? No one knows. I think Oklahoma-Bama would have been a pretty good game. I think Bama probably a little better last year. But the point is, you won't have these situations. It's not quite apples to apples, but in 2007, Georgia was the best team in America at the end of the year. But they lost 2 games early in the season, and they never had a chance after that. It didn't matter what they did after that. You only had a 2-team playoff then. The season was over. And that was the case for Oklahoma last year. So in that respect, there's more room for error in a 12-team playoff. So I think...
But it's harder to win the playoffs, though, man. You're going
to right. You got to potentially, or not potentially, in reality, you're going to have to beat 3 top 10 teams in a row. I mean, to win a national title, you're going to have to do something like beat Wisconsin, Clemson, and Bama in 3 consecutive weeks. That's hard for anyone to do. That's hard for Alabama to do. Alabama, there won't be anybody. What does Alabama have? 6 national titles in the last 12 years? There won't in a 12-team playoff. Nobody will win 6 national titles in 12 years, ever again.
That makes me kind of feel better. So how does it with what they're talking about now, and no one knows for sure? Do the conference, and they talked about the Power 5, conferences or whatever, or the conference champions getting a bye or something like that. I don't think that works itself out with if they're only going to have 2 or 3 super conferences, which I do think it's going to go. I don't think in the next 2 to 3 years, Clemson would come to the SEC or Florida State. I think that's going to kind of stay stable for right now. I think the Big Ten could poach maybe some players from the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Definitely from what I've been told on my sports radio here is that Iowa State and Kansas are all but guaranteed to go to the Big Ten, because Iowa State meets their, I don't know what it's called. It's like their academic standards. It's a qualification they have. Again, I forgot the name, but Iowa State meets that. And then, of course, Iowa's there, so it's an in-state rivalry. and then Kansas is a big basketball program, and they meet the academic standards. So I would think I would guess the next couple weeks, maybe sooner, you're going to see Kansas and Iowa State make an announcement to go to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And then at that point, Oklahoma and Texas are off the hooks. Wouldn't the Big 12 be dissolved at that point? So
Pretty much.
The contract would be null and void.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what will end up happening. And I think maybe the Pac-12 takes one of the Texas schools out of the Big 12. I think Oklahoma State lands somewhere, whether that's the Big 12 or somewhere else, I don't know. But, I think that's the likely scenario, that so many teams leave the Big 12 that there is no longer a Big 12, so there's no one to pay the $80 million to.
Well, I know you got to get going. I'll leave you with two things. One, when I was in Florida, every single effing year I cheered for Georgia in the largest cocktail party, and I just went there in high school. I can't tell you how much I can't stand the Gators.
I knew I liked you the minute you called in. I knew I liked you the second I clicked you onto the show.
And that's why you got it. That's why you got to like the first time I saw your video. I'm like, this guy hates Florida. You kept calling him a Florida man. I'm like, that's why I tell my friends, I listen, Florida man.
Yeah.
And they're so obnoxious. It's just crazy.
And you're married to the Florida lady. Don't forget to remind your wife, the Florida lady, how many perfect seasons does Florida have in the 125 years they've been playing football?
Pretty sure it's zero.
Zero.
But
Not a single one. Not a single one.
For years, since 2008 until this last year, I'd live with that fucking OU loss in 2008. I will argue though, if we had DeMarco Murray, it's a different story. Chris Brown ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
A couple times near the red zone. If we had DeMarco Murray, it'd be a different game. But so I'll leave you with that. And one other point is the last one is Oklahoma's been in a lot of, and it's going to sound kind of egotistical. Hopefully, I've been kind of not too arrogant of a Sooner fan, but I could be wrong. But I don't see Oklahoma, mainly because of history. Right, I think the southern schools like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, just the geography of it, like the history and culture. Oklahoma's kind of a mix. It has a little bit of Arkansas in it, like near Tulsa. And if you go down to the south, like in Norman, it's more Texas. I mean, it's just an extension of Dallas, Texas. If you've ever been to Norman,
yeah. And
I think folks in the SEC in the Southeast, they chant SEC because it's cultural. And I wouldn't bet. I bet some, not a lot. I'm 50-50 on this. I don't think Oklahoma will be chanting SEC anytime soon. Now, maybe 40 years down the road, if we're still in there and we're still in the SEC, but Oklahoma, they're kind of independent, man, because it's like it's Oklahoma. I mean, like they've been through a couple of conferences too. Like, you look at the Big 8, you look at the Big 12, and then I just don't see that happening. But if I do, then I'll call you up and say, you know what? Uncle Lou was right.
Okay.
We cheered fucking SEC. I used to say that shit all the time. Like, I couldn't stand them.
Yeah.
But that's doing the party, Lou, and I appreciate your channel. It's pretty damn funny, man. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thanks for the kind words, and thank you for the call, man. I hope we hear back from you again. That was a good call. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
So many Oklahoma callers on the show tonight, Lou.
And here's another one.
It's like the invasion has already begun.
Yeah. Yeah.
We coming. Oh, we coming.
We can't wait to have you. Can't wait to have you.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But you were riling up some people on my stream with Cowboy TD earlier today, so I just wanted to chastise you and wave my finger at you and say, you got this one Tom Bailey guy so mad. Like most of his posts or comments were like flagged, and I'm like, I had to whether I had to approve them or not.
I did like the one that I came up with that said, now that Oklahoma's in the SEC, we're going to need you guys to figure out how to get that covered wagon to make a U-turn without tipping over.
Listen, that wasn't a harbinger for Oklahoma. That was a harbinger for the Big 12.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was. It was a harbinger for the Big 12, and it's like that was the omen. And I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to dunk on Aggie Man. You got Florida man, Aggie Man. Oh, your days as like this big shot and the only school in the SEC from the state of Texas and all that. Your days are numbered, Aggie Man. I can't wait to put you back in your place where you belong, whether it's your burnt orange big brother or the rightful king of the Big 12, Oklahoma, because we back, bitches.
Oh,
and you know
cannot
what?
wait.
This is like the biggest case of dumping cold water on a hard-on ever. Like Texas A&M has been trying to get to where they are right now in the SEC since the minute they got in the SEC. You know, they did have a good year last year. You know, outside of that loss to Bama, they did have a good year, and they are so confident right now. At least they were a week ago. You know, and they were so happy. Everything was going right. They like Jimbo Fisher. They think they have a good quarterback to replace Kellen Mond. They think they can compete with Bama. They think this is the year. And then here comes the news that Texas is joining the SEC, and it's just like, well, no one, you know, dump cold water. No one cares about A&M anymore.
Yep, that run is over, and we're going to relegate them to Ole Miss and Mississippi State status very, very soon.
Oh,
it's going to happen, and they're going to be very, very upset.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it's going to get that bad. It's going to get that bad because they ain't going to get those recruits anymore where they can go play for Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch up in Oklahoma. And see, we don't have to make up like blank plaques that say insert national championship here. We got 7 of them. So I know the Aggies got one from like the 30s when there was black and white, you know, silent movies back in the day that they can talk about.
Oh,
but
so let me
that,
ask you this. Now that
shit.
so y'all have 7. All those are real, right?
Yeah, those are all AP national championships.
Okay,
yes.
so y'all are now, even if you take away Alabama's fake titles, they still have more than you. But you're now the second. That's the second most in the SEC, though.
Yeah, I mean, we bring. I mean, this is not talking trash. It's like our tradition is like 1 and 1A with Alabama when it comes to just numbers and stuff.
Right.
However, if we embrace the SEC tradition, and especially that of Alabama, I mean, there's a lot of math formula titles back in the day that some geologist from New Orleans said that we were number 1.
Yeah.
You never know. Like we could have our own helmet with a number on it that says how many fake championships we've won.
Bama claims natties where they came in 3rd in the East and lost their bowl game. I mean, 3rd in the SEC. 3rd in the SEC and lost their bowl game yet they claim a natty.
You know, we need to get on the phone with Texas, and when we have that first like big 16-member board meeting, we need to bring it up to vote whether they're allowed to do that anymore. I think it's a real serious problem in the SEC. Don't worry, Texas knows how to fix problems or start problems.
Right. Yeah.
We'll get that all figured out. But I know you're running. I know you were like running long. I just wanted to pop in and say that like, hopefully by the end of the week we'll have an idea that this is going to happen in 22. And like when Scott Hall walked through the crowd on that fateful May night in 1996 and got in the ring and said, it's like, you people, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And it begins. The takeover begins.
All right, Oni Kuno. It's going to be fun.
All right, I'll catch you. It will. It's going to be fun.
Oh, and real quick before you go, you think Oklahoma will be playing an SEC schedule in what year?
Next season, 22.
Yeah. Okay, me too.
Because like, listen, the beauty part is ESPN's going to pay that Longhorn Network money to the Big 12 if they have to, and it's going to pay for both of us. Yeah. So if they have to make the payout, it's not going to cost us a dime.
Do you remember the details of Missouri and Texas A&M? Were they under any type of similar contract that they had to pay? Someone told me that they negotiated down to 60%. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, they negotiated down, and it took a while, and they remained in the league for one more year, like we're going to do. But I think the problem is that, you know, you had 4 teams leaving, so it was really difficult to, you know, make that happen. And you know, it looked like that Pac-16 was inevitable till, you know, the Aggies did the SEC thing, and Texas, you know, you were convinced to stay, and the Longhorn Network, and that's a 12-year story, it seems. But I never really paid too much attention from that area. I was just more of like, oh, we're staying in the Big 12, and it's like a lesser conference than it was.
Yeah.
All right, let's go in it pretty much every year and see what happens. Which that's what went down. But yeah, I think it's going to happen in 22. We're probably not going to hear it. My gut feeling says we're not going to hear it. Like on Friday, the OU is going to have their Board of Regents public meeting. They're going to publicly say, like, we're going to start in 25, and then as a week or two goes by, when, you know, behind the scenes buyouts happen, that's when you'll start hearing some word that 22 will become the year. So that's the way I think it's going to go down.
All right. Well, it's going to be interesting.
Definitely will.
All right. Thanks for the
Kevin
call,
Nash
buddy.
will be right behind him soon enough.
Okay. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Later.
All right. Bye. Oni Kuno, Oklahoma fan, been around a long time. Much longer than Uncle Lou. Check him out. He's got an Oklahoma channel. ONIKUNO. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, lads. Nate the Great.
What's up, Nate?
Not much, man. Just chilling. And I want to talk some college football with you.
Hey, before you get started, Nate, I wouldn't trust very many people to do this, but I'm going to trust you to do it. I actually have to go pee.
Right.
I have to go pee. Do you think you can entertain the people on your own for 2 or 3 minutes? I'll be right back.
Yes.
I think you can. Don't let me down.
Yes, sir.
All right, Nate.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the commentary of Nate the Great for 1 to 2 minutes while Uncle Lou takes a pee-pee.
Okay, so what's up, guys? Nate the Great. Basically, I play video games for a living, and I eat ass for a living. And I love hot girls, and I like Michigan football, and I slap chicks and earn money for a living. So I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going out of my mind. I don't know what to do, but I'm trying to entertain you guys. Hopefully it is entertaining. How about would you rather questions? Would you rather have to meet The Rock in person, or meet Nicki Minaj in real person? Tell them in the chat. And my other question is, would you rather see Michigan beat Ohio State this year? Well, I don't know if it happened, but
Michigan's not beating Ohio State, sir. Stop it.
I mean, yeah, I know that. Only time will tell, right?
Time and me will tell, and it's not happening.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said, though? What's that for the Michigan part?
No, that's all I
hear
heard.
what I said? Okay. Yeah, I basically tried my best to entertain the people.
I'm sure you did a great job. Is there anything else on your mind though? Because I really got to wrap it up.
I know you have to. I know you have to go. I'll just let you go. But as always, go blue and go big red.
All right, Nate. Thank you for the call, sir, and thank you for holding it down for me for a minute or two. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Lou. How you doing, sir?
Doing good.
Hey, I want to let you know when Texas joins the SEC, they will beat Georgia every single year, sir. Georgia took. Georgia can't beat Nickel State, sir.
Artie Lang, thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, Sooners cheated in the land run. That's like stealing free samples at Sam's Club. How much longer before they're forced to change their name? That's a historical fact. They stole that land. They cheated. They left early. That's someone will argue with you, I'm sure, but that's just a fact. Gators owned. Thank you for the super chat, sir. He says, imagine Tulane and a nerd willingly left the SEC. Yeah, let's not forget that. Georgia Tech left the SEC because they claimed the SEC was becoming too football focused. Keep in mind, this was right after Georgia Tech beat somebody 214-0. But the SEC was putting too much focus on football. Yeah. Right. Mostly good calls tonight. Shout out to everybody that called in. I appreciate that. Keep in mind, I do this every Tuesday and Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you maybe tried to call in tonight but couldn't get through, I hope to hear from you on Thursday. I'll be back 10 o'clock Thursday night. Do this call-in show year-round, every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. year-round. There's no off-season here. There's just a part of the season where we don't play games. So to the Texas and the Oklahoma fan, sorry, you no longer have an off-season. When you're in the SEC, there is no off-season. Okay? There's no off-season anymore. So it's year-round. Morning show every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 a.m. And the Lunch Money Show with me and Pigskin Pete every Monday night at 10. Shout out to everybody who was able to support the show with the Super Chat or the PayPal tonight. I really appreciate that. The live shows that I do are supported 100% by direct donations. I don't get any ad revenue off of the live shows because I choose to play music at the beginning and the end of the show. That's on me. So not making any excuses for that. But without the direct donations, it would be hard for me to do this year round, especially in the off season. So I really appreciate those of you who can and choose to support the show through the Super Chat or the PayPal. So thank you, Gators Owned, Artie Lang, Rhino 26, Mo Football, J Rizzle Drizzle, Pigskin Pete, Sean D, and Brandon W. And I'll just refresh one more time to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I don't think I did. Don't want to leave anybody out. I did leave someone out. Huffer Billy Paul, thank you for hitting the PayPal link, sir. I really appreciate that. He says, I'm just supporting the show. Well, I sure appreciate that, Huffer Billy Paul. You do a lot for me in this show, and it doesn't go unnoticed, sir. And I hope you know that. I'm sure you do. Gator Zone, thank you again for the Super Chat. He said, Florida schedules at Texas. Texas joins the SEC. Yeah, Florida tried to schedule a non-con game on the road, and it was gone. Now it's just a conference game. Tiger Baskins, thank you for hitting the Cash App, sir. I really appreciate that. You're good people. Cash App is great, ain't it? I don't use Cash App that often. I don't really know why. It's so easy to use. But thank you, Tiger Baskins, for supporting the show tonight. I really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody who did get in tonight on the call-in show. A lot of great calls tonight, so I really appreciate that. And I look forward to doing it again Thursday night. I don't do any live shows on Wednesday, so no live shows tomorrow. But time to get back to the preview and prediction videos, I think. There's been so much news lately. I've kind of got away from the preview and prediction videos, but I think I'm going to get back on that tomorrow. Should I do Texas and Oklahoma tomorrow? Or I should do one of them, shouldn't I? Either Texas or Oklahoma tomorrow, maybe? Seems like that would make sense. North Carolina's next on my list, but maybe I should go ahead and do the Texas or the Oklahoma preview while that's all anyone cares about, right? Yeah, I think I'll do one of those two tomorrow. How about that? I just think seems like that just makes sense to do, and then North Carolina will be the next one after that. Yeah, it seems like that just makes sense. Rhino says, "Wait, what's going on with Texas and Oklahoma?" Rhino's been asleep for a week. Anyway, I really do appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. I had a good time. Look forward to seeing y'all again next time. But I am going to get out of here. Don't worry. I'll play a song for you at the end so we can all wind down. But I love you guys, and I'll see you again real soon. Have a good morning. Let's see, what song can we play here? What song can we play? What about This one? Maybe? Maybe?
Swallowed I was dreaming, found myself a understanding. Before me there 100,000 friends were gathered one and all, and so decided we could rule it all if we should dance all the way across the greatest city in the never world. Just what I'm seeking, or say, my love, you drive me to distraction. So, my love, do you believe that we might last 8,000 years or more, if not for this? Our flesh and blood, it sighs. You and me right up time, let's celebrate, I'll celebrate with will. 'Cause life is so much sweet for certain. Hey, we come on 2 by 2. Baby, so these days continue, things we cannot say right so. Like wine comes to the mouth, grown tired of water all the time. You quench my heart and love, you quench my mind. Let's celebrate, I'll celebrate, we will. The life is on but sweet for certain. Baby, come on 2 by 2. to me is just what I'm seeking or say. Won't you love to come and celebrate? Oh, celebrate we will. Oh, but life is so much sweet for certain. We climb on 2 by 2 to be sure that all these days continue, babe. We can follow the we climb on 2 by 2, you and me, just to be sure that all these days continue, babe. We can
I bust my ass, Lou. That's what I do every day. So you be careful who you mouth off to, jerk off.
Stop mistreating Uncle Lou!
Say y'all again. Meet us at Kroger Field. Uncle Lou, meet us at Kroger Field.
Woo! I'm tired, Woo! Woo! I'm tired, Woo! You listen what the general tell you now! I don't speak pineapple, Woo!
In the 305, bitches treat me like I'm Uncle Lou.
No, lady, how about you shut up? I'm doing Lou too, bitch!
You big dummy.
Who the hell is Pinecone? Who the hell is Pinecone?
Pinecone. Pinecone.
What up, Lou?
Leave this man behind.
Yeah, leave me behind.
Leave that man behind. Quit,
Leave me
quit.
behind. Yeah, tell him, Lou, leave me behind.
You too good for this, Pinecone.
Too
Don't mess
good.
with this clown. Leave this clown alone.
You too good for this. You too good for this blind call. That's just Georgia.
Who the hell is Pinecone?
I'm just a little bit perturbed. I'm just a little bit perturbed. I'm just a little bit perturbed. I'm just a little bit perturbed.
Who have Georgia played, Woo? 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 Who have Georgia played, Woo?
Uncle Lou, I'm going to bring you in. I'm not talking to him. I really don't want to talk to him.
Got me a wet paper towel here. Let me get all up in there good.
He's a Florida man, Lou. He's a Florida man, Lou. He's a Florida man, Lou. He's a Florida man, Lou.
I'm gonna snort some cayenne pepper up my nose. I'm gonna snort some cayenne pepper up my nose. I'm gonna snort some cayenne pepper up my nose.
Shitter's full. Shitter's full. Shitter's full. Shitter's full.
and it's time for a little bit of hype and hate. Woo! Hold up. Cut the music. Good morning. Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou. Live for you on LouTube today. Yeah, thanks for watching. We're gonna do something different for this one. Okay, this is a big game. We're gonna do something different here. Now, every game this year, Uncle Lou makes this hype and hate video, right? I come on, I yell and scream for a few minutes, I trash the opposing team, I let them know what's about to happen to them. That music plays. You guys know the music. That music plays. It gets me pumped up. I get going. I let Oklahoma or whoever we're playing that particular week know what's about to happen. But this ain't no regular game. This is a playoff game. And I'm thinking maybe this deserves something special. Maybe I shouldn't just do the same old thing I've been doing for every other podunk team UGA has ran over this year. Uncle Lou can't talk. Uncle Lou don't know nothing about football. Just did round track. Maybe I just do something different. Maybe I sit in this chair right here and just calmly discuss matchups. Calmly discuss X's and O's. Compare rankings. Compare offensive rankings against the other team's defensive rankings and vice versa. Or maybe talk about who has a better punter. Talk about special teams. Talk about coaching. 2 young coaches. Kirby Smart, year 2. Lincoln Riley, year 1. I mean, maybe that's what I should just do something. Hear that? Maybe I'll just do something different this time, right? I mean, people are tired of the come get you something, right? Or maybe we'll just do what we've been doing. So hey, Oklahoma, we're not impressed. Georgia's not impressed, and we're not scared. Baker Mayfield, listen, Baker Mayfield, if he can drag himself out of whatever sickbed he's pretending to be in out there in Pasadena, so he doesn't have to go around and do these things that everybody else is doing. Oh, he's too good to go and do these things. Faking some kind of sickness out there. Nobody's falling for that. This ain't 3-card money, okay? We're not falling for that. The Georgia Bulldogs are coming to Pasadena. In fact, they're there now, okay? And they're going to be at the Rose Bowl Monday at 5 o'clock waiting for you. I mean, that's all there is. Show up. Show up, Oklahoma. Just show up. Baker Mayfield. Listen, I've seen Baker Mayfield's 40 time on that dash cam video, and Uncle Lou ain't impressed. The Fayetteville police, whoever that was, ain't got shit on Georgia's linebackers. So Baker Mayfield is screwed 6 ways from Sunday. Your defense can't stop a nosebleed all damn year. You've given up 30-plus points in half the games you played. Baylor is still scoring touchdowns on you, and they're one of the worst teams in all of Power 5. You lose at home to something called Iowa State. You're just not any good. Your defense is terrible. Congratulations for having a Heisman-winning quarterback. Let me know how that's worked out for Heisman-winning quarterbacks in the last decade or so. Let me know. It's worked out the same way it's about to work out Monday when you run into this monster called the Georgia Bulldogs. It's coming, Oklahoma. It's coming. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. And that's the best part. That's the best part. It's not a secret. I'll go ahead and tell you in case you don't know. The Georgia Bulldogs are going to line up Monday night and run the ball down your throat. Play after play after play after play. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Nothing.
gonna make the same deal with you bunch of land-thieving morons. Boomer sooner, Lou. Boomers, what's a sooner, Lou? A sooner is a derogatory term given to criminals who stole land back in the big land giveaway when they had to give that way land. They had to give the land away in Oklahoma. Nobody would pay to live there. 80% of that state is an Indian reservation. But I'm going to make the same deal with you bunch of nincompoops that I've made with every team and every fan base that UJ has destroyed this year. And yes, UJ has destroyed every team we've played. Every single one. And Oklahoma's nothing special. They're just next on the list. That's it. You're just the next domino getting ready to fall. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, but I will make you the same deal. Drag that half a bag of carcasses that y'all call a football team to the Rose Bowl Monday, New Year's Day, 5 o'clock. Meet my Georgia Bulldogs there and come get you some of this, bitch!
Whatever flavor it happens to break. Sorry.
First down 10. Nick Chubb and Quavon Hicks are the running backs. Chubb going after his 14th straight game of 100 yards or more. And this is not a promising start. Emmanuel Mosley with the tap. And Nick Chubb is still down.
And that's a nightmare scenario for Georgia fans. Remember, it was on this field 2 years ago that Keith Marshall was injured, and the finish of that run is scary.
Everybody comes to a point in their life when they want to quit. But it's what you do at that moment that determines who you are. See, I don't want to hear from people that tell me success is easy. I want to hear from the people who fought it out, who went all 12 rounds with life and then got to the other side. See, I know that success and greatness take time.
I mean, things happen. Anything can happen, you know, any given Saturday. Only thing I can do is go out there and just be the best that I can be, you know, and just leave it in God's hands.
I know that my dreams and my goals, whatever it is that I want, is going to take time, and it will not be easy. And I've learned, and maybe you've learned this as well, that it's not about what you want. Life is about what are you willing to put the work in for? What are you willing to stay up late and go to sleep early for? What sacrifices are you going to make for greatness?
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody.
For pain to the max, new BC Max.
We hand it off to Herschel. There's a hole. 5, 10, 12. He's running over people. Oh, you Herschel Walker. My God almighty, he ran right through 2 men. Herschel ran right over 2 men. They had him dead away inside the 9. Herschel Walker went 16 yards. He drove right over Orange Church, just driving and running with those big 5. My God, a freshman.
And you're either not a college football fan or you've been living under a rock, but Clemson and Georgia have both rearranged their 2021 football schedules. Charlotte and where were we? 2021 Clemson versus Georgia, week 1. Listen, it's going to be a big game. Both teams will be highly ranked clearly that offseason heading into the season. Now, we don't know what either of these teams are going to do yet in 2020, the upcoming season, but the odds of either one of these two teams, Georgia or Clemson, completely falling off the face of the earth before that game is played to kick off the 2021 season is, well, it's zero. Look at the recruiting. Look at how the two teams are currently positioned within their divisions and their conferences and really within the hierarchy of college football. Maybe you hate Clemson, maybe you hate Georgia. I don't know. There is no arguing, though, that both of those teams are definitely top 10 programs in America right now. Clemson is clearly a top 5 program, and an argument can be made. I think that they're the best program in college football right now. They're not going to fall off the map between now and 2021. I think Georgia's a top 5 program right now. I know they haven't won a national title, but I don't think there's 5 programs in college football right now better positioned than Georgia is. But in any case, regardless of how you feel about either of those two teams, it will be a huge game to kick off the season. And I'm excited because this kind of reminds me of last offseason heading into 2019 when we had the Florida versus Miami matchup, week 0, whatever it was called or whatever. And all offseason, that's pretty much the only game people talked about was that Florida versus Miami game heading into 2019. It was a huge game between two teams that people really wanted to see play, and neither of those two teams are at the level of a Georgia and a Clemson. Now, Florida is close, finishing in the top 10 the last 2 seasons, but they've yet to win a division under Dan Mullen, haven't gotten over the UGA hump. Maybe they do that this year. I don't know, but the point is, there was a lot of hype and talk for 6, 7, 8 months leading up to that game because it was the first game of the college football season, and I think this Georgia-Clemson game will be similar to that next offseason in terms of the attention that it gets heading up to that game. Now, clearly, this is going to be a difficult game for both teams. Georgia's a really good team. Clemson's a really good team. They both have really good coaches. They both have really good coaching staffs. They both recruit really well. Now, the game is interesting for a whole variety of reasons, right? Kirby versus Dabo, Georgia versus Clemson. There's a lot of history in the Georgia versus Clemson game. In fact, we already have 5 games scheduled with Clemson between now and 2032 or 2033. Couple of home and homes, another kickoff classic game scheduled for, I think, 2024 or 2025. I'm no fan of these neutral site games either. I would much rather play home and homes. I mean, I talk about that all the time. I'm a college football fan. I have this crazy idea that college football games should be played on college campuses. But this will be a big game. Like I said, a lot of eyeballs will be on it. A lot of time will be spent talking about this game next off season for sure. It's going to be interesting in that it will be year 1 at Clemson post Trevor Lawrence, right? He's a junior this year. He's going to go to the NFL after this year. Hell, he could have gone to the NFL after his freshman year. He could start for over half the teams in the NFL right now. Everyone knows this. With Georgia, that their quarterback situation heading into 2021 is going to be probably completely up in the air, similar to the way it is this year, right? We got Jamie Newman coming in, but he's a grad transfer. So even if he gets the start, he's a one-and-done guy, so he would be gone for that 2021 game. You got DeJuan Mathis, who is a sophomore this year, didn't play at all last year because of the brain injury. He's been cleared to play this year. Will he get any playing time this year? Is there a chance he could start some this year? Now, if he were to start this year and play well, then clearly he would be the favorite for Georgia's QB heading into that matchup against Clemson week 1, 2021. You got Carson Beck coming in as a true freshman at Georgia this year, highly rated quarterback out of Florida, right? North Florida, Jacksonville area. I think he'll be a true freshman. How much will he play this year? If he doesn't play at all, then people are going to expect him to be competing for that job in 2021. And then you throw Brock Vandagriff into the mix, who, of course, the number 1 rated quarterback for the 2021 class, who's currently committed to Georgia. Now, that doesn't mean anything right now, the way these players flip commitments and flip-flop back and forth so many times. In fact, Vandagriff himself was committed to Oklahoma for about a year before he decommitted and committed to Georgia. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Clemson is not going to be hurting for talent at the quarterback position, though, or any other position on the field for that matter. They've got this DJ UNCLELOU, whatever the hell his name is. I'm not sure if he's some sort of pineapple like Tua was, or what the deal is with his last name. I don't know. But, he's got all the hype in the world, too. So like I said, just because Lawrence won't be there doesn't mean Clemson will be not any good or even take a step back. It just means there will be a little bit of an unknown there at the quarterback position for Clemson heading into that 2021 game, because it will be the first year without Trevor Lawrence. But I'm sure their defense will be loaded. It always is. They're going to have amazing NFL skill position players at running back and wide receiver. They always do. The same can be said for UGA, right? So it's an exciting game. People are... Fuck it. We're Clemson Tigers. Yeah, what do you fucking do, bitch? Nobody gives two hoots or a Clemson fucking holler. We're the Clemson fucking Tigers. I promise you, I swear to God, no one gives an absolute fuck that you're the Clemson fucking Tigers. I really haven't had much of a reason to badmouth Clemson or their fans, or really even make that many Clemson videos where I clowned them for any particular reason, whether the team, the coaches, the players, whatever, because, well, honestly, I do think they've been the best program in college football over the last few years. I think when they beat Alabama in the title game a couple of years ago, humiliated them 44-16. To me, that put Clemson ahead of Alabama. And Alabama is clearly, no one feels sorry for them either. They're loaded they're a favorite to win it all every single year. But listen, Clemson's made the playoffs every year. Alabama didn't make it last year. Alabama's only won their division once in the last 3 years, right? One national title in the last 3 years. Clemson's got more national titles, more division titles, and more conference titles in the last 3-4 years than Alabama does. They're the best team. They're the best program in college football right now. But you dumb motherfuckers haven't had to play Georgia in that run either. And let's just be real about it, okay? Georgia and Clemson have been playing forever, okay? We've been playing since Jimmy originally cracked corn, and it hasn't mattered, okay? It hasn't mattered what decade we played Clemson in, what era we played them in, who the coaches were for either team, where the game has been played, black and white TV, color TV, HD TV. It hasn't mattered. Georgia has owned Clemson like a rented. I mean, you're like rental property. You're like Clemson is like the University of Georgia rental property. We have absolutely owned you over the course of football history. Okay, Clemson would have to beat Georgia 24 years in a row just to tie the series, just to tie it up, just to make it even. Okay, 42-18. That's Georgia's record against the Taters. 42-18. Oh, all them games in the past don't matter. Lou, fine, we played you twice. 4 times. We've played you 4 times this century, 3-1 against you. We just own you, period. We beat the hell out of Deshaun Watson and his when he was at Clemson. I mean, like I said, it hasn't mattered. Heisman Trophy winning QBs, loaded teams, terrible teams, Georgia good, Georgia bad. It hasn't mattered. We have beat you time and 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 time again. You're Georgia's doormat. Okay? Clemson's been on a pretty good run. That's great. Okay? But you fans need to take a step back. Okay, but in Clemson's history, they've basically had 2 times where they ascended to the top of the college football world. 2 different periods of time, right? The current period that we're in now, going back 3-4 years, whatever it was, back to Deshaun Watson's last year when they won it all, right? Up until present day. I mean, they made the Natty game again this past year. Got your shit pushed in, but you did make the Natty game. And then all the way back in the early 80s, was it 81? I think it was 81 when you won the Natty. Might have been 82. I think it was 81. Those are the two eras of Clemson football, the golden eras of Clemson football. In both of those eras, you were caught cheating. That's not an opinion. That's not these idiot typer trolls who say, oh, Alabama's buying players. That's why they're so good and have top recruiting classes. They're buying players. This isn't that kind of thing. You were caught cheating both times that your program ascended to the top of the college football world. The early 80s, you were caught buying players, giving them cars, all kinds of stuff. This is, like I said, this isn't conspiracy theories, rumors. This isn't internet message board, anonymous sources stuff. You were busted by the NCAA. You then admitted to it and took your punishment. Bowl bans, lost scholarships, all that kind of stuff. You admitted to it. You took your punishment. Go back a couple of years ago. You're getting ready to go into the playoffs. What happens? NCAA comes in and tests you, and guess what? You got players that's juicing up. Stay out of the comment section about how Osterine or Joel Osteen, that crooked-ass preacher, whatever it was y'all were injecting, it's not a steroid, Lou. It's a performance-enhancing drug. That drug is banned by every sporting agency on planet Earth. China and Russia won't even inject their athletes with that stuff. That's how banned that Osterine crap is. And 3 players and they didn't even play in the playoffs. They played all during the season, which is what got you to the playoffs. You got caught cheating again. Only 3 players, Lou. Yeah, only 20 were tested. Okay? There's 85 scholarship players and about 100 on the team if you include walk-ons and such. Okay? Now, I'm not a scientist, but if you test 20 players and 3 come up positive for cheating, simple math and some common sense tells you that if only 20 players are tested and 3 of them come up positive, it's a lot more than 3 players on that team that was juicing up. You got caught, you admitted it. You sat the players out. In fact, you sat them out not just for the playoffs, but for the entire next season. Why? You got caught cheating. So, you guys get mad when people point that out. Then you turn around and clown Southern Cal for what they did in the mid-2000s. You turn around and clown Ole Miss for what they did buying players 4 and 5 years ago under Hugh Freeze, right? Right. You clown Florida State for the constantly because they're in your conference and they used to be good. Not anymore, but they used to be good, and it used to be like Clemson, Florida State, who's going to win the ACC. So the rivalry developed there, and y'all clown them nonstop about Jameis Winston and how Florida State was sweeping stuff under the rug, and they never once got caught or busted by the NCAA for any type of cheating. You did. You did. I don't understand why you guys have to make all these excuses. This is how I know it really bothers you, because you do spend so much time trying to defend it, trying to justify it. The whataboutism, right? Oh, yeah, well what about this? What about that team this? And then the Clemson Tater wanted, well, Georgia's players were smoking weed. Who gives a hell? Nobody cares about weed. What are you talking about, weed? It's 2020. Oh, my God. Georgia's got some players in the year 2020, college-age kids who were smoking weed. Mind blown. You people must have been living under a rock. Howard's Rock. Oh, can we talk about Howard's Rock? This dried up ass pebble. There's nothing special about rubbing that damn rock. Nothing at all. Nothing. Y'all in the locker room rubbing each other's buttholes. You better off to get something to come out of that than you are that rock. Let's just be real. Clemson. Wasn't it Clemson that the player got caught with his fist up the South Carolina player's asshole in a pile one time on? What are y'all doing up there, the Taters? Clemson. Auburn with a lake. Congratulations. We beat SEC teams. Yeah. Congrats on beating Texas A&M and South Carolina. Whippity-doo! No one really cares. Listen, Clemson. This is how I know it bothers you. You spend way too much time trying to defend the Osterine thing. And then the poster boy for Clemson football on YouTube. This Uncle Lou's shadow.
Hey, did your team get approval from legal?
Sure. I'd love a bagel.
When teams work in silos, things get lost. Asana connects work in one place. Visit asana.com to try for free.
The Osterine thing, and then the poster boy for Clemson football on YouTube. This Uncle Lou's shadow. He claims he don't even know nothing about the early 80s or 1981. Give me a break. Damn, Pete. A 2015 fan? Really, buddy? I'm disappointed. Take those sunglasses off, too. Jesus Christ, you could at least have the decency to ask Uncle Lou permission before you just straight up rip off everything I do. My God, man. I still like you to watch all your videos, though. Back to business. Deal with you next off season.
I'm sure everybody knows Uncle Lou, my favorite YouTuber.
Pigskin Pete. There's a lot of people been waiting a long time for that. Oh, man. Clemson can't help it, man. They have to cheat to get to the top every single time. I don't understand it, and I don't know why the fans spend so much time defending it. Actually, I do understand. It's because it does bother you. We know it bothers you, and by we, I don't just mean me or the people on this channel. I mean fans across college football know it bothers you. People don't spend all that time defending and making excuses for things that they don't care about or don't bother them. It just doesn't happen. Hell, read through the comment section on any Uncle Lou video. Look at some of the dumb shit people say about me on a daily basis. You don't see me down there going round and round with them. Why? Because it's not true and it doesn't bother me. Everything I said is true, and it bothers you. We know it does. Just stop cheating. Win the right way. You're a very talented team. Dabo Swinney appears to know what the hell he's doing, okay? You get almost any recruit you want now. Your quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, best defenses, top 5 defenses in all of college football multiple years in a row. You don't have to cheat, so why are you doing it? I mean, they didn't know what they were getting. Oh, but yeah. College football training staffs have trained professionals making six figures a year, but they didn't know that it was shampoo, Lou. Yeah, shampoo. Yeah. What, are you dumbasses drinking shampoo? They might be. I don't know. But anyway, Georgia owns you. Well, I mean, we'll beat you in 2021. You know we will. We'll beat you, Charlotte. Well, neutral site. Clemson, Death Valley, Athens. Hell, we could play you in a Big Lots parking lot. We could play you on the dark side of the moon. It really wouldn't matter. 42-18. Okay, that's Georgia's record against Clemson all time. That's pitiful and sad. It's pathetic. It's piss poor. For whatever reason, Georgia just has the tater number. That's not going to change just because the calendar flips to 2021. And you know what? The news goes from bad to worse for the tater. Because look what I'm about to tell you now. Guess what? You're in the ACC again this year. Guess what that means? Cruising on into the playoffs. Guess who'll be there waiting for you this year? Georgia! So how's it going to feel, Clemson, to take your last loss of the 2020 season to my Georgia Bulldogs and your first loss of 2021 to my Georgia Bulldogs? Huh? Type about it. You got a year and a half till the 2021 game. That's a long time to prepare. We're just fans, Lou. Why do we need to prepare? You need to prepare if you're going to be around this channel. Prepare for what? Prepare to come get you some, bitch!
Free gas hack. What's good? It's your boy Benny Nose. Go to the gas station. Pay with Credit Karma.
This is going to be a good one, ain't it? Yeah, it is. Not the game. No. This video. Video is going to be a good one. The game's already over. You know that. Come on. Hey, even if you're a Tennessee fan, if you're watching this video, you know that. Tennessee fan, Georgia fan of some other team, everyone knows this game is over. The 8-game winning streak. Even Tennessee fans have to be tired of hearing about this thing. The 8-game winning streak. Who have they played? Hey, you ain't played nobody. Georgia's beat how many top 10 teams over the course of your 8-game winning streak? But we beat Auburn last week. What Tennessee? Oh, Auburn ain't no good. They ain't played nobody. Let's see who ain't played nobody. Mizzou twice. South Carolina twice. That's half the wins out of your 8-game winning streak. Congratulations. Kentucky. Vandy, Indiana, UAB. My God, have you beat a team with a winning record during that 8-game stretch? I'm seriously asking. 8-game winning streak. Oh, all of a sudden you want to talk about streaks. But we bring up the streak. You don't want to hear about, how about this streak here? 33 losses in a row to top 10 teams. You haven't beat a top 10 team since 2006. Georgia beat a top 10 team 6 days ago. Oh, look at Lou bragging over a win over a terrible Auburn team. An Auburn team ranked in the top 10. How many wins do you have over terrible top 10 teams? 0. 0 since the iPhone 2. 8-game winning streak. 33-game losing streak. The top 10. You haven't beat Georgia in 3 years. Just look at your record in modern times against your 3 biggest rivals, Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. During the last decade, the 2010s, what was your record against those 3 teams? You play them all every year. 10 years, that's 30 games. 3-27? My God. Tennessee, man, you're so far away from mattering or being relevant in the world of college football. It's honestly pitiful and pathetic at this point. You know, the last couple of years, it was not fun to make these Tennessee videos. It wasn't. I made them because that's just what I do during the season, just like I make one for Vandy and Kentucky, and I made one for Murray State and Arkansas State last year. Tennessee was on the list of victims, so I made the video, but it wasn't any fun. I promise it wasn't. I mean, kicking somebody when they're down over and over and over again, the literal definition of beating a dead horse. I mean, trash talking Tennessee over the last 10 years has been like taking candy from a baby. I mean, it's just been pitiful and sad. But not this year. This year is different, isn't it, Tennessee fan? Huh? This year is different, isn't it? Because you really mean it this time. You really mean it. You really believe you're beating UGA this time. It's not like last time, Lou. It's not like 2019 or 18 or 17 or 8 of the last 10 times we played you when, yeah, we said we had a chance against Georgia, but we knew we didn't, Lou. We were just saying that because, you know, we're fans and the whole trash talk thing. We knew we didn't have a chance. Hey, hello. We knew. You knew. We knew you knew. Did you know that we knew that you knew? That Tennessee is hot doo-doo. But this year is different. The Tennessee fan 100% believes they're winning this game. 100%. And that makes this week fun again. So thank you, Voltards. Thank you. From the bottom of Uncle Lou's heart, thank you for making the Tennessee Hate Week great again. Thank you. Thank you. I mean it. Because beating up on that merry band of nitwits y'all call the football team the last few years has honestly been no fun at all. and beating up you dumbasses in the comments section. I mean, I honestly have felt sorry for you guys the last few years. But it started this offseason. You come out, you beat South Carolina and Missouri. And Tennessee is back. You're back. Back to being the most obnoxious fan base in my comments section. Back to drooling all over your keyboard and your phone. Dribbling into your Fruit Loops in the morning when you eat them. Checking your Uncle Lou videos as quick as you can to leave some dumbass comment about how you're beating Georgia this year, just so your internet can quit working and you can disappear about 7 o'clock Saturday evening. Believe me, I know it's coming. Not all of you. So let me just say that now to be somebody to comment. I'm not going anywhere, Lou. Look, listen, to Tennessee fans' credit, you guys have been terrible for pretty much the entire existence of YouTube, but a lot of you have stuck around. So I got to give credit to the ones of you that stick around. And, hey, that's about the nicest thing I can say in this video, honestly. But the 8-game winning streak is meaningless and pointless. It means absolutely nothing. You have not played or beat anybody anywhere close to the level of a UGA, and you're not going to do it this Saturday either. I'm pretty sure you know that. Now, we might have some bad weather tomorrow, so dress accordingly. You're going to the game. Bring a black umbrella if you got one. You see those at a lot of funerals. Bring that. Who's that going to help? Who's it going to hurt? Rain. Look, Georgia's like the damn mailman. Rain, shine, sleet, snow. Doesn't matter. We're delivering an L to Tennessee. That's what's happening. But it is supposed to rain tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Can Garen Dudu throw in the rain? I don't know. Can Jarrett Garen Dudu throw in the rain? We'll find out. He's played okay the first couple of weeks. By okay, I mean he hasn't went out and lost the game for you. I mean, you have a pretty low bar at Tennessee in terms of what's good quarterback play, and so far, Garen Dudu has delivered for you. Now, we all know he's only one bad pass away from the entire fan base turning on him for the 100th time, and that's likely to happen on Saturday. That's likely to happen on Saturday in the rain. So, but we can run it, we can pass it. It don't make. Are y'all really giving up 254 passing yards a game too? Jeez, thought y'all was gonna have a defense this year. What about your offensive line too? All offseason, best offensive line in America, Lou. Hey, Lou, did you know Tennessee's gonna have the best offense? Hey, Lou, you know we got Cade Mays. You know we got Cade Mays, Lou. Yeah, Lou knows that. Best offensive line in America. Well, I suggest you check some offensive line ratings over the first 2 weeks of the season. Check out the top 5, top 10 if you want. You won't see Tennessee on that list. You know who you will see? Georgia at 3rd again, and that's low for us. Jesus Christ. You get Cade Mays from us. You know what Cade Mays was at UGA? Cade Mays was a utility O-lineman. That's what he was. Somebody got hurt. Somebody twisted an ankle. Somebody had a tummy ache, needed to take a play off. Oh, hell, send Cade Mays in. We send Cade Mays in. The dude played left guard, right guard, tackle, center. He played it all. He's a jack of all trades. Master of none. Yeah, and his name is on the hit list Saturday. That's right. His name is on the hit list. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with you idiots watching this video. But Cade Mays, on the other hand, if he happens to be watching this video, and I'm pretty sure that he is. Good morning, Cade. You're fixing to get your ass ate up tomorrow, son. But anyway, this is the best thing to happen to Tennessee. Getting Cade Mays, is the best thing to happen to Tennessee since they got D'Angelo Gibbs. Hey, can somebody, a Tennessee fan in the comment section, I don't keep up with Tennessee like that, like y'all do. Can somebody in the comment section please let me know what D'Angelo Gibbs' current stats are for this season? I forgot to look them up before this video started. But when D'Angelo Gibbs transferred to Tennessee 2 years ago, that was a game changer. That was the beginning of the end for UGA. Tennessee was back. Georgia missed the boat. You let D'Angelo Gibbs get away. We're screwed. Tennessee's going 100-0 over the next 7 years or whatever it was. I don't know how that's worked out, but somebody let me know how D'Angelo Gibbs is doing up there on Rocky Flop. I would be curious to know. Oh, speaking of the rain. Leave that damn dog in Knoxville, would you? Jesus Christ. And feed that thing. My God, you're not supposed to be able to count a dog's ribs. Are you? How do you have a homeless dog as a mascot? And it's not even any kind of... that thing... Look, listen. Smokey is a mutt. Plain and simple. Now, you can guess what sorts of breeds might be mixed in to his DNA or whatever. But it's a bunch of different ones. Smokey has got to be the ugliest, most malnourished mascot I think I've ever seen. You can count his rib. It's sickening. It's sickening. You know? And you know what my first thought is when I see Smokey? I'm like, I can't believe PETA hadn't said something about this. But then it dawns on me and I have to remember. Smokey is so goddamn embarrassing. Not even PETA gives a fuck about that thing. They don't. They don't. Smokey is bad for PETA's cause. A Mercy. Who seen Marley and Me? Y'all seen that movie, Marley and Me? Somebody needs to take Smokey in, lay down with him on the table, hold his little paw, and watch his eyes close. That's what needs to happen. This dude, does he have parvo? I don't know what's going on. He's got to have some type of, he's got to be ate up with worms. And I'm an animal. I love animals. I'm an animal lover. Love animals. I got dogs, cats. Daughter got a couple of guinea pigs or something. I don't know nothing about those, but I think they're in there somewhere. I don't know. I have no idea. Each of those damn guinea pigs weighs more than Smokey. You know how these Sally Struthers used to do those commercials with those poor African kids where the fly would land on his eyeball and, they would tell you that, for the price of a cup of coffee, you can save one of these kids. Or they need to put Smokey in one of them things for the Save the Animal commercials. One look at Smokey and you feel like you have to do something. My God. He's got to have mange, too. Mange, parvo. He's malnourished. I know he's ate up with worms. I know he is. I don't think anybody takes care of him, honestly. I don't. Just leave him in Knoxville. I'm serious. Just leave him in Knoxville. For real. He doesn't need to be out in the rain. But yeah, it would be the first bath he's had in, forever. But, he doesn't need that aggravation. He's used to the filth. He's like a pig that way. Just Smokey. How did y'all end up with something like that as a mascot? Were there not any crack babies available? If a crack baby was a dog, Smokey. God almighty. Pitiful. It's pitiful. Oh, here's another one of these. What else y'all want to talk about? Oh! You know what I was thinking? Because y'all are going to lose. But here's the thing. Don't you think the possibility exists? I'm talking to Tennessee fans and everybody else too. Don't you think the possibility at least exists that Tennessee doesn't even have to win this game? Tennessee could lose by 7, 8, 9, 10 points, 13 points, right? Huge moral victory for Tennessee. Think of the bulletin board material. Think of the motivation going forward in the season. Think of the lines you could tell the recruits. We hung in there with Georgia this year. We didn't lose 40-something to 12 this year, Mr. Recruit. We hung in there. We only lost by 13. I mean, y'all could put a banner up for that. Jeremy Pruitt could put it on one of those little whiteboards that likes to whip his ass on occasion on the sideline. This could honestly be a huge moral victory for Tennessee if you guys can keep this thing within a couple of touchdowns. I think you could use that going forward. This could be the motivational boost you've needed. This could be what you've been waiting for. To not get blown out by UGA. Could it happen? I don't know. Probably not. You're probably going to get blown out. But I'm just saying, this gives you something that's at least possible to attain. A huge moral victory. Think of it. Listen, if Tennessee somehow keeps it within 2 touchdowns of Georgia, it would be a major miracle. But if they somehow kept it within 2 touchdowns of UGA, this would honestly be the biggest thing to happen to Tennessee since they won that NASCAR title in week 2 back in 2016 when they beat an unranked Virginia Tech team at a racetrack. Remember that? That was amazing. That really helped them. I'm sure this would too. This would be the biggest thing to happen to Tennessee since they won the inaugural Life Championship back in 2017. Tennessee is due. Tennessee is due. Think of it. What was the last meaningless accomplishment Tennessee had? Beating Indiana maybe in the bowl game, the who gives a shit bowl. I bet there's not 5 people who even know what bowl they played in. This would be huge for Tennessee. They go to all the recruits' house, brag that they only lost to UJ by 13, put up flyers and stuff in the weight room as motivation, you know. Have Cade May's dad come in and give everybody a high 4. Is Cade May's dad named Karen? Oh, what a Karen. You got to be a serious Karen to try to sue somebody because you don't know how to work a folding chair. My God. This is as bad as that bitch that went through McDonald's and spilled hot coffee in her lap and then tried to sue McDonald's for the coffee being hot. Hey, Kevin Mays, you fucking idiot. That folding chairs were invented like the day after fire. How do you not know how to work one? Man, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. It's a toxic environment at UGA. Woo! Yeah, especially toxic when you're 3rd on the depth chart. This guy was a rotational player. And I don't know if I mentioned, but his dad only has 4 fingers on one hand because he can't work a friggin' folding chair. Oh, it's toxic. We'll sue UJ. This shit toxic. They have folding chairs. Oh, the humanity! Good luck with a moral victory, though. The good news for Tennessee fan, of course, is that Pruitt is the answer. That's right. Just ask any of them and they'll tell you. Now, keep in mind, these are the same fans that told you Lane Kiffin was the answer before he disappeared in the middle of the night. Derek Dooley was the answer before he couldn't win a game. Butch Lyle Jones was the answer. You guys remember that? 9 games into the 2016 season, Butch Jones was the answer. He was the truth. It was all paying off. They had that alien, Josh Dobbs. They had Alvin Kamara and Jalen Hurd. They even had players on defense who you had heard of. Week 9, they were in the driver's seat. They had beat Georgia, the biggest win Tennessee has had since 1998, by the way. A regular season win over a 5-loss Georgia team. They had beat Georgia and Florida in the same year. You know how rare that is for the Vaultard? Week 9, they're in a driver's seat. Week 10, they're cruising to an SEC East title on the back of none other than Lyle fucking Jones. Week 11, at South Carolina, Jalen Hurd gives you one of these. In the middle of the game, says he's not playing anymore. You lose. All you had to do was win one of your last 2 games, and you would have won your first division title since 2006. Last game of the year, after a beating at the hand of the Shamecock. No worries. Everything is golden. All we have to do is beat our little brother Vandy, and we're in the SEC title game. Lyle marches his troops out in the last week of the regular season. Tennessee Voltard takes the field and gets their absolute shit pushed in by Vandy and lose the East. But Butch was the answer. 2017, the infamous 0-8 season. 0-8 in the SEC. What is that even like? Georgia beat you 41-0 that year. Took your soul. Pried your mouth open with a rusty pair of pliers and took a shit in it. In your own stadium. God almighty. Imagine the embarrassment. I can't relate. And you fired him. Then you started interviewing for new head coaches. 1, 2, 3, 4 head coaches interviewed. All turned the job down. Never fear. Never fear. Gruden to the hill. That's right. That's right. Tennessee was going to hire John Gruden. He was going to ride in on the back of Peyton Manning's neck and forehead and save the day. Didn't happen. Interviewed a 5th coaching candidate, a 6th, a 7th, and then lightning struck. Greg Schiano. Y'all actually tricked him into taking that job that nobody wanted. Greg Schiano. The fan base, which is 99.9% Karens. This was the original cancel culture here. Tennessee fans went out with picket signs and all kinds of dumb shit. We're going to boycott. We're going to boycott if you hire Greg Schiano. Should have been boycotting when you couldn't beat Vandy. What should have been doing. So then he walks away from the job. In comes Phil Fulmer. My God, this fat tub of nothing. Interviews an 8th guy, a 9th guy, a 10th guy. Nobody would take the job. Until you interviewed one Jerome Pruitt, the Charlie Brown of college football. It was a match made in heaven. Nobody wanted the Tennessee job. Nobody wanted Jerome Pruitt. What could go wrong? Well, 5-7 could go wrong. That was his record his first year. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. That was an improvement. That was an improvement, Lou. We were 4-8 last year. Pruitt improved us to 5-7. Next year's the year, Lou. Next year's the year. Year 2. Remember, Lou? Kirby made it to the national title game year 2. Why can't Tennessee do it? You know why. Year 2 comes around. God dang, you lose to Georgia State and BYU. The death of General Voltard. Never to come back again. Unless you beat Georgia, Florida, or Alabama. So, like I said, General Voltard, never to come back again. But yep, year 2, the magic year. This is the year. Every year's the year. Every year's the year you're finally winning the East again. Every year's the year you're finally winning the SEC for the first time since last century. How have you not won the SEC since last century? That's pitiful. That's pitiful. Pitiful. No major bowl wins since 1998. Haven't played in a Sugar Bowl since 2007. A pathetic program. A piss poor excuse for a program. And that's what it is. This is an excuse. It's not an actual program. You lose to Georgia State and BYU. Season's over. Oh, pack it in. We're going 0-12, blah, blah, blah. Then you reel off those 6 meaningless wins at the end of the year against the worst teams God ever put on this earth. Beat Indiana in a miracle come from behind over what was a 6-win Indiana team. Miracle come from behind victory. We have to listen to you nitwits all off season. And that, my friends, is why I have been looking forward to this week for so long. The Tennessee fan is not trolling. They're not kidding. They're not just saying that. because of trash talk or I'm a fan, I'm always optimistic. No. They 100% believe that because they beat South Carolina twice, Missouri twice, Kentucky, Vandy, UAB, and Indiana, whatever, whoever the hell, they honestly believe that because of that and because of an underperforming offensive line, I'll give Tennessee credit. On paper, they've got a great offensive line. The problem is you don't play the game on paper, and they're not performing that way. They're not in the top 10 ratings of offensive lines in the country. That's not Uncle Lou's opinion. Look it up. Pro Football Talk, Pro Football Focus, all these groups that rate the players in the position groups. They're not in the top 10. Georgia's third. Nothing but disappointment. Why is anyone surprised that the best unit that Tennessee is supposed to have had in forever, this year's offensive line, is sliding a paper Dixie plate out onto the 50-yard line of the stadium and taking a giant doo-doo on it through the first 2 weeks? Why is anyone surprised? They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. Oh, Lou, we got a real offensive line now. Everybody on notice. Hey, we're putting everybody on notice. We got an offensive line. We got a couple of 5-star that K made. I'm putting everybody on notice. Hey, listen to me. I'm a Tennessee fan, and I'm putting everyone on notice right now. Tennessee's got a legitimate offensive line. Yeah, and who's that offensive line blocking for? Jarrett Guarandoodoo. I just want to remind you. You know what? Actually, let's give Tennessee credit. They are trying to do the offensive line and defensive line thing. They are trying. Jerome Pruitt is putting his focus in that area. Let's give him credit. He's copying Kirby Smart. That's what he's trying to copy Kirby Smart in hopes that he'll have somewhere near the level of success that Kirby Smart has had. Now, the problem is, of course, Tennessee has about 50% of the talent that UGA has and about 25% of the coaching ability. So, you know, I mean, listen, I can trace a Picasso. That don't mean I can paint. Jerome Pruitt is a clown. He's a clown. And Tennessee fans, listen, you've got more head coaches in the last 10 years than you do wins against Georgia, Florida, or Alabama combined. And you'll have another head coach 2 or 3 years down the road. We all know that. It's a rinse and repeat situation at Tennessee. I honestly don't even know why Tennessee still participates in these games that they know they're going to lose. I guess it's because they're not playing for wins. They're playing for things like fake racetrack titles and life championships and try hard awards and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But I have a pretty good feeling Tennessee's going to show up in Athens this weekend because they keep doing it every other year. I don't know why, like I said, but they keep doing it. So I have a feeling they're going to make the drive or the flight or whatever they're doing, a tractor or whatever I don't know. You think Jerome Pruitt butt chugs? I don't know. Anyway, I'll make you a deal because I like to do this. I know it's the first Uncle Lou video you've ever seen. I'll try something different today. But I'm going to make you a deal to the Tennessee players if they're watching. And let's be honest, they are. Every single one of them, they're watching. The conference and CBS have scheduled this game for 3:30 tomorrow, Saturday afternoon in Athens. Georgia's going to be there. Georgia will be at Sanford Stadium all day. So we'll just hang out there all day. In case, but by some off chance, the Tennessee Voltars decide to actually show up. So Tennessee, if you guys want to come to Athens and get your booty hole ripped open on national TV for God and your mother and everyone else to see, then drag that group of kids that never made it past the first round of a spelling bee to Sanford Stadium on Saturday at 3:30. Bring your moonshine too, you bunch of backwoods inbred hillbilly hicks. It'll help you drown your misery after this ass beating that Georgia puts on you Saturday. If that sounds like something you're into, then come get you some of this, bitch!
Yesterday's thinking is done. New ideas, we have a ton, so keep pushing forward toward a better.
Hey, Barner. Are you excited? I know the Barner is excited. You know, Auburn is falling into a dangerous category here. The Auburn fan. The Auburn fan is falling into a very dangerous category. I don't mean dangerous like some harm may come to you or anything like that. Well, not physical harm. Mental and emotional harm. Yeah. Yes. That's coming. But you're falling into a dangerous category that has happened to several fan bases over the years on this channel. The Barner has gotten to the point now where they look forward more to the Uncle Lou hype and hate video than they do the actual game itself. Why, you might ask? Well, the answer to that question reveals itself when you think about the list of teams that fall into this category. Mizzou, Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi State,
Yeah, War Eagles. Congratulations. I don't think anybody ever think I'd say that one, but we got it.
These teams just don't have a lot to look forward to in terms of football. Not in the short term, Yeah, some of these teams may get bowl eligible. Hell, some of these teams might even beat a good team or two along the way. But in terms of winning conference titles or making playoff appearances, the fans of these teams just don't have anything to look forward to. And Barner, damn, that's you now, son. That's you. Think about how far the barn has fallen since 2013. I mean, at least they made a national title game then, won the SEC. That's pretty good. I mean, that makes you pretty relevant. Since then, though, nothing. Just coming up empty year after year. Gus Malzahn keeps getting raise after raise. Hey, I'm about to skip ahead here. I want to do that. But, so, yeah, well, you know what the Barner's been telling me all week? This is the only thing the Barner can tell me all week. This is it. We beat Alabama last year. Whoopity-doo! E-I-E-I-O, bitch. Nobody cares. You beat the worst Alabama team since Saban's first year there. Congrats. I mean, I don't think I promise nobody can. Nope, Alabama doesn't even care. Alabama fans don't even care about that. And why are you bragging to a Georgia? What does that have to do with this game? We beat Alabama last year. Good. You didn't beat Georgia. You didn't beat Georgia last year. Good. You beat Alabama. Great. Alabama was a pretty good team last year, so I guess you should be proud. Hell, they made the Citrus Bowl, for Christ's sake. I think they even won it. Speaking of bowl games, you got your doo-doo pushed in by the state of 1,000 lakes, Minnesota. How's that even possible? You lost to Minnesota in a bowl game that nobody watched. Oh, my God. You had to have given Gus Malzahn a raise after that. I haven't seen Auburn take a shit on itself like that since losing to Central Florida in another game that nobody watched. The Brunch Bowl back on New Year's Day 2017. Jesus. People were still wiping fireworks, dust, and sleep out of their eyes from the New Year's Eve the night before. When the Barn kicked that game off, nobody watched it. You got beat by Central Florida. You gave Gus Malzahn a raise of 7 years, a $50 million contract. My God. You had to have done that again last year after losing to Minnesota? Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. Now, Auburn comes out, beats Kentucky week 1 out of world beaters. A struggle win against Kentucky. What was it, 29-13? I knew Auburn was in trouble in this game off the jump. You know how I knew? Remember the most gimmicky team in the history of college football? Chip Kelly's Oregon. Remember that dumpster fire of a team? Oh my God, we're winning 10 games a year in the Pac-12. Please respect us and take us seriously. No. Why? Gimmicky team. And then they showed up in a big game in the postseason, Oregon did, and got whipped every single time. Hell, Oregon was so bad, even when they were winning 10 or 11 games a year, even Auburn beat them in a bowl game one time. Or it might have been in a regular season, but they had a big game against, I couldn't even beat Auburn. I said, my God, this is a gimmick. But what do I mean by gimmick? Well, they was drawing up plays in the dirt. Does that sound familiar? Gus Malzahn. Oh, we'll get to the play calling in a minute. But Oregon had this thing they would do, right? Where they would go for 2 the first time they scored in every game. And guess what the damn barn did against Kentucky. This is the sign of a desperate team. Auburn went for 2 when they scored their first touchdown against Kentucky. They scored a touchdown, go over 6-0, whatever what it was. I look up on the screen. These jackhats are out there for going for 2. I said, my God, they must plan on lose this game. That's the type of things desperate underdog teams do. I'm like, what? I said, what's this guy? What are they going to do next? Kick an onside kick in the second quarter? What is this? I said, man, this is pitiful. This is pitiful. But what do you expect when you give a $50 million contract, the world's highest paid PE teacher? That's what Gus Malzahn is. He's got these Auburn players out here playing jump the brook and hopscotch and dodgeball and all this kind of, drawing up shit in the dirt. Every single year, the offense is absolute mushed doo-doo. I mean, every single year since Cam Newton graduated. I'm just kidding. He ain't graduated. Every single year since Cam Newton left, these people, this offense has been absolutely pitiful. Pitiful. And what happens? It can't be Gus Malzahn's fault. He's a genius. Yeah. How many of you remember your PE teachers from school? How many of them were geniuses? But that's Gus Malzahn. So every single year, Auburn's offense is absolute mush doo-doo. Gus Malzahn comes out and says, you know what? This is too much on my plate. Need to hire an offensive coordinator. Offense comes out with an offensive coordinator. Looks like mush doo-doo. Gus Malzahn comes out and says, you know what we need to do? I'm the one that needs to be running the offense and calling the plays. We're going to get rid of the offensive coordinator. I'm going to call the plays. Gus Malzahn fires the OC. He calls the plays. The offense comes out and looks like, you guessed it, mushed. Do. Here comes Gus Malzahn with his monkey suit on. Same song and dance, shaking your hand for a quarter. Don't worry, I'm going to hire an offensive coordinator. This is too much on my plate. And we'll have a great offense next year. In rides Chad Morris. Oh my God, the same Chad Morris that won 2 games a year at Arkansas. 0 SEC games. Yes, that's all you were missing, Barner. That's all you were missing. E-I-E-I-O. That's it. That's literally all you were missing. That's it. Chad Morris, forget that little chart thing where you went from a monkey to a man and they can't find the second or third link, the missing link. No, the missing link is Chad Morris. Whippity whoop. Now here comes Chad Morris. Bo Nix. Oh, he's going to turn Bo Nix into a Heisman candidate. Bo Nix comes out against Kentucky and gets outplayed by turnover Terry Wilson. I mean, gee, did anybody watch that game? That's a trick question. I don't know if nobody watched it. Terry Wilson looked like a better quarter. If it wouldn't have been for the 3 turnovers that Kentucky had in that game, they would have whipped off. They would have won that game. And Auburn still can't run the ball. This just in. Breaking news flashed across the bottom of my screen. All 8 of them. Auburn can't run the ball. Bo Nix was your leading rusher in this game. What did he have? 40 yards? My God. Auburn had 30 carries in this game for 90 yards against Kentucky. That's combined. And the leading rusher was Bo Nix. Your running backs can't run the ball. Your offensive line is an absolute disaster. Bo Nix was running for his life half the game against Kentucky. Yeah, I get that, Kentucky. This game in Athens is not going to end well for you. I'll tell you that right now. It's just not. You can't run the ball. Bo Nix is the same Bo Nix as last year. He's not going to see anything the rest of the season like what he sees this Saturday in terms of a defense. Georgia's got the best defense in America, hands down. 2 All-Americans in the defensive backfield, and you can't run the ball. Not a good combination because you're not going to be able to sit back in the pocket. The pass rush is too strong, and you're not going to be able to throw to open receivers because there ain't going to be none. Pick City. I'm telling you, Pick City this week. What's the over/under on number of interceptions for Bo Nix this week? If I put the number at 1.5, I'll take the over. Over 1.5. 2 interceptions this week incoming. On deck. Up next. Hide and wait. Watch and see. Go fuck yourself. Bo Nix is throwing 2 interceptions this week. And he's probably going to get sacked another 3 or 4 times. It's just going to happen. It's just... It's just going to happen. So this is just a bad combination for Auburn. Below average offensive line and no running game against one of the best pass rushers in the SEC and a defensive backfield with 2 preseason All-Americans, and overall the best defense in America. This is just not going to end well. Now, I don't even have to read the comments of this video. I already know all the comments down below about Georgia's offense. This is breaking news, too. I don't know if y'all just started watching football tomorrow or what. Georgia's offense has been pretty terrible most years since Aaron Murray graduated back in 2013. We had a year or two here or there where we put up decent overall numbers. Well, we haven't put up decent throwing numbers since Aaron Murray left. But so this isn't some kind of breaking news. Oh, yeah, how are you going to score, Georgia? Offense. We averaged 19 points a game against the SEC last year and went 11-1 in the regular season and won the East again. And beat Auburn 21-14, and this game's going to be something similar to that. I'm not here to completely go overboard here and tell you that Georgia's putting up 50 points in this game and blah blah and all that. No, Georgia's going to win a game in the 20s. Period. I don't know that Auburn can get to 20. They couldn't get to 20 last year. I wouldn't be surprised if they can't get there again this year. I don't think Georgia will get to 30, but it don't matter if the other team can't get to 20. Georgia will win this game somewhere, 3 points, 4 points, 6 points, 7 points, somewhere in that range there. It's just a bad matchup. You can't run the ball, so you got to rely on the pass, but your offensive line is terrible. Couldn't protect against Kentucky. No way you can protect against Georgia, and our defensive backfield is infinitely better than Kentucky's. It's just a bad matchup. Now, when we have the ball, like I said, I don't expect us to come out there like a track meet and move up and down the field. It's going to be a struggle for Georgia when they have the ball, too, but Georgia's defense is better, and despite the production or lack thereof on the field, our offense is more talented than yours too. Now, we may not have anybody that can run it, but still, it's more talented. So, point is, there's a lot of points, mainly the one on your head, but you're not winning this game, and honestly, I think you know that. We beat you last year. Kirby Smart is 4-1 against you in the last 5 matchups. We beat you 6 of the last 7. We beat you, 13 of the last 16 or whatever it is. We're 13-3 against you or 12-2, whatever it is, 12-3. And 2 of the 3 times that you've beat Georgia in the last 16 games, every time I say it, I feel worse and worse for you. How are you 2-12 or 3-12 against Georgia in the last 15 games? My God. Anyway, so you beat us 3 times out of the last 15 games. 2 of the 3 times that you beat us, you were a national title team, 2010 and 2013. Ask yourself this, Barner, in a legitimate way. Do you really think you're a national title team this year? The answer is no, you're not. It's just another reason why you're not going to beat UGA. UGA owns you now. They own you in recent history. They own you all time. We own the series. We've got more wins than you all time. Georgia's got more bowl wins than you all time. Georgia's got more SEC titles than you all time. Georgia's got more consensus All-Americans all time than you. Georgia's got more NFL draft picks than you. And most importantly, Georgia has a better YouTuber than you do. You're just not winning this game. You're not winning. Gus Malzahn is a joke, a PE teacher. Over half the Auburn fans want this clown fired yesterday. So I'm sorry. There will be no rolling, defiling, poisoning, or burning down of Toomer's weed this weekend at the barn. It's not going to be happening. Save that toilet paper for your tears. You're going to need it because you're fixing to get an ass beating at the hands of the University of Georgia. The world's biggest, this is Auburn, the world's biggest little brother program. The only program in America that's a true little brother to 2 different conference rivals, Georgia and Alabama. Now, I'm no Alabama fan, but they beat you like you owe them money on a regular basis. Oh, Gus Malzahn's got more wins against Nick Saban. Yeah, what has it got you? Nothing. Alabama owns you. Georgia owns you. It's just a sad case of little brother syndrome. And let me mention this, too, while we're on the subject of how shitty the barn is and their fans. How's it feel to be playing this game week 2, Barner? Oh, it's not fair. Hey, SEC commissioner, this not fair. This is just not fair. We gotta play. Hey, SEC man, why we gotta play Georgia and Alabama at the end of every year, SEC man? We want the Georgia game moved. Notice they wanted the Georgia game moved, not the Bama game. You know why? It doesn't matter when they play Bama. Well, it doesn't matter when they play Georgia. But the problem with that 2 stretch of games that Auburn had, Georgia and Alabama, it's not Alabama, it's Georgia. Georgia beats the life out of you 2 weeks before the season ends every year, and then you toss the towel in. So you got to call and cry up to the SEC office, try to get the game moved to the middle of the season. Congratulations, you were successful. You cried your way into a scheduling change. Whee! The SEC obliged and moved the Georgia-Auburn game from November to the middle of October. Then comes coronavirus, and it gets moved again. So now you get to get your ass beaten in the beginning of the year, instead of how it used to be at the end of the year, and instead of what it was supposed to be this year, the middle of the year. But don't worry, Barner. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're still going to have the same opportunity that every other team on Georgia's schedule is going to have this year. An opportunity to get your ass beat. So I tell you what you can do. Barner, E-I-E-I-O. You can throw blow dicks and the rest of those incest, infected, backwoods, future glue factory workers that you call a football team in the back of Cousin Eddie's Winnebago and drive that sumbitch east till you hit Athens, Georgia. My dogs will be there waiting, so come get you some of this, bitch!